Alright everyone, welcome back to more SRL Racing League, and today we are here for the IMSA Championship, a very long-awaited series here on the channel, but we are finally going to get underway. It is going to be the 2.4 hours of Daytona that we're going to start out with, and since it is 2.4 hours, we're going to have plenty of time together to get to know the drivers, get to know the teams, and get to know absolutely everyone. So we're going to have the start of the race, then we're going to see what happens as soon as we get underway. And by the way, I'm going to be your commentator today. My name is Samuel Brandt. I usually do Formula 1 racing, but since our commentator is actually racing today, we're going to have a new commentary guy in here. It's a little bit flustering actually, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. We have 9 cars on the track, as you can see, so going to be very interesting to say the very least. We're going to run through them. What we're going to do is that we're going to have the originally, like we did in Indy 500, we're going to do one lap, which is going to be the formation lap, and then once we come around, we're going to gun it, absolutely gun it, and then the race is going to be underway. We're going to be here for 2.4 hours or even more, so grab yourself a snack, grab yourself some drink, and sit down and enjoy the race. I'm going to be back as soon as the action starts. So the formation lap is going to begin now, and what is going to happen, it is a rolling start as it might seem, but we are going to do a manual formation lap. So what you're going to see now is the 2 classes of cars are going to split up. Drivers are going to find their grid positions, as it seems. So the order is, I suppose, going to be Vasilios Balestiotis. We're going to see once they come around. They're going to do a full lap. Prototypes are going to create some space for themselves down to the GTE cars. But yeah, so this is actually not racing at the moment. It is, in fact, the formation lap. It's a fast formation lap, so we'll wait and see. We're going to follow our pole sitter as we come around. So we're going to have plenty of time to talk about the drivers. We're going to do that as soon as the race starts, which I believe it might have. Yeah, I think it has. So Vasilios Balestiotis is going to lead us on to the first lap. It's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out. It's the first ever race in IMSA in SRL, so it's going to be interesting. And we have a battle for the GTE lead here, with that is Lance LeBron and Rob Small. So we're going to follow that. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Come across. overtaking is now allowed, so it'll be interesting to see what's happening. And Lance gets the move done on Rob, so first move of the IMSA season has been completed, so we are well on the way now. And let's run through the teams, shall we? So on your screen right now is Vasilios Belistiotis, the Greek driver, is going to be driving for High Class Racing, which is the first ever Danish racing team in SRL. Then we have Reese March, who is substituting today for Mr. Cameron Weston Edwards, who could not be here today. He is usually racing in Konica Minolta, Cameron, but today it is Reese March. Usually he races for a GTE team, but we'll talk about that later. But it is Reese March who's going to be in one of the Konica Minolta cars. And the other one, a full-time driver for Konica Minolta, is Sandro Dulis. And you all know him. He has been there from the very start, so he's not a new driver. Then we have Yannick Verpeten making a return to SRL. And he's also substituting today. He is substituting for Tim Venting, who also races for High Class Racing, but also couldn't make it today. Then we move down into the GTE field, and it is Lance Lebron who is making his full-time racing debut in SRL. He's going to be racing for Chevrolet Corvette Racing. In case you didn't know, he is American. Right behind him on track right now is Rob Small. This is one of the new drivers in SRL, as he makes a lock up there. He's going to be racing for Ford Chip Ganassi Team USA, and he is registered as a Jamaican driver, so he's from Jamaica. Then we have Rosta, who we unfortunately don't know the true name of, but he is also substituting today. He is substituting for Reese March, actually. And the team that we are looking at is called Risi Competizione. And in the other car of Risi Competizione is Dion Stahl, who, just like in Formula 1, will be racing in a Ferrari car. And last on track right now is Nick van Gelder, the reigning Formula 1 world champion in SRL. He's going to be partnering Lance Lebron in Corvettes. So that's all the drivers who are here today. As Roaster is going to make a move, it seems, on Rob. Nah, it doesn't really. I think the battle we're going to be following today is going to be in the GTE field more than the prototypes, as this field is more compact, it's more even peckings, as we're watching Nick here. He's trying to get past Dion. It'll be interesting to see these two. It has the slipstream, pulls out on the high bankings. And heading into turn one, they're going to be side by side. Nick is in front now. He has the outside. Oh, but he turns. Oh, no. Dion clips Nick on the entry to turn one. A very difficult entry to the first turn. So it's not easy to go side by side, but a half spin there by Nick as the two Dutchmen battle away. And Roaster is he's glued to the tail of Rob Small in the Ford, as I think Lance has made a run for it in that class. Rob runs very deep there. Doesn't really hamper him on the exit to curved banking. And he has got past Dion now, fair and square, so he's going to be looking to maybe get a move on and try to close up to the cars in front. But the battle we are going to be following right now is going to be Roaster versus Rob Small as Rob cuts across the grass there. And very interesting one. Rafael Brito says hello, and hello to you as well, Rafael. Hope you enjoy the racing. And yeah, there's going to be plenty of time to battle between the drivers here. As I think, does Dion have some damage maybe? I don't know. He's not able to tell you, unfortunately. But yeah, we're gonna put on a map here so we can see the drivers in question. Very simple circuit, you would say. Timings. We're just exploring here a little bit, so forgive me for exploring a little bit. I don't know too much about this hub, so we'll see. But Vasilios has taken a commanding lead. He's leading by 5.5 seconds to Reese March at this point in the prototype class, and Sandro behind them is, I think, 18 seconds behind the leader. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do anything. And then behind them again, it is Yannick Verpeden, who is 33 seconds behind the leader. But right now there isn't really a battle, as Roaster, we completely missed this, but Roaster has actually got in front of Rob Small. If that is because Rob has made a mistake or something, I actually don't know. So we missed that, unfortunately. But we'll see if we can stay close to the fights, as Lance is taking a pretty commanding lead in that class right now. So if he continues this way, he's going to take class victory, but it's too early to say anything at this moment, obviously, as we have 2 hours and 15 minutes left until race ends. So there's going to be plenty of action coming up. As Dion heads onto pit road, he's going to come in to the pit box, and I wonder, yeah, it must be to repair some damage. Seems, or does it? What is he doing? Might be to repair some damage, I think. But yeah. So Dion got some damage on, I think, when he made contact with Neek. That might be what he came in for. He's going to be lapped by several cars, I think. Depends on where Lance is right now. Dion, comes very hot out of the out of the pits. So something you have to be careful here on Daytona. The road course is that this track is has a very narrow pit lane. A very infield section is very narrow, so it's going to be interesting to say the least. But he is a lap down to, I suppose. Okay, so he's a lap down on Vasilios, Reese, and Sandro. Yannick is coming up to lap him at some point. In the background, we can see Lance wrestling the Corvette around. But as I said, yeah, look at that front bumper. Has he made another mistake now, Dion? Because that car didn't look like that when he came out of the pits. He's dented his front bumper. I think he's made another mistake, unfortunately. As Neek, I think he's closing up to... he is, I think. He is closing up to Rob Small in front of him. So Corvette really on the run right now. Try and get the best out of this race as they can. As Rob continuously runs deep into corners, and Neek gets a perfect drive out of that corner. Just gonna have a look on him. Nah, but he is gonna try and get the better run out of infield section and onto the banking. As Dion has been given a blue flag. I suppose that was for when Yannick passed him. Obviously, I don't know. But we're gonna watch this battle and see if it turns into a juicy one. We can hear Rob downshifting. It's very aggressive, that Ford. And, he does stay in front by a car length, or several car lengths, as Dion heads into the pits, understandably, after that dented front bumper. So he's going to be lapped by everyone once these two come around to do some battling, but he's not going to be close enough to make a run for it. Dion gets out of the pits. Oh, Rob runs deep, and is that gonna... Yeah, it's gonna promote Nick up into P7, and overall I think that's P3. That's the podium in the GTE class. So does Rob have a problem with the car? Has the car suffered some damage, maybe? It doesn't seem like there's any visual damage on his car. That is Vasilios coming up to lap Rob and Nick now. That's going to be very interesting, to say the least. So this is going to be the first on-track lapped car, and the rule is that GT cars stay low and then the prototypes go high to pass when they try to lap people. But obviously Rob moves out of the way, doesn't make a mess of that. Why would you? Here's going to be a tricky situation. Oh, I think Rob has gone off there. And he has. He's hit the tyre barrier. He must have been a little bit distracted from Vasilios' prototype car, as Vasilios laps Nick, but whether he has it seems like he has damage, because that Ford is twitching all over the place. He must have been caught out by the prototype lapping him, so he for sure has to come into the pit. Yeah, he's coming in along with Dion. Oh no! And Dion has taken Rob's rear spoiler off clean, so that's more repairs that's needed for Rob's Ford, fortunately. Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate for Dion. He's been having a nightmare so far, but more repairs for Rob, unfortunately. And I don't actually know if Roster, he taps the upper wall there. Does he have some damage as well? It's a little bit difficult to tell, but listen to that car, very high pitched, and Vasilios, I assume, is coming around to lap Roster. It's not going to be too difficult, as he is going to catch him on the banking, so easy pickings for the Greek driver in the prototype. There we go. Rob is still in the pits. He heads out now, so a very long repair session for the Jamaican driver. And, it's going to be interesting to see if he can climb back. He has a couple of minutes up to, I think he's one lap down on Nick by now. If he doesn't watch out. So Rob heading out of the pits. Where's Nick? Here he is. So Rob is going to come out. Oh, this is going to be close, actually. Rob comes out ahead of Nick, so not a lap down yet. Oh, but that could change, as Nick has been let go because of blue flags. So Rob is a lap down to his closest competitor as Rob spins. Oh, those cold tires must really hurt. Obviously you can't give it full beans when you come out of the pits as your tires are cold. And I think he discovered that right there. But as I said, his closest competitor is at this moment actually Dion, who's behind him, but in front of him it is Nick van Gelder, who's running in a P3 in the class that we're talking about. So there's a long way for Rob, but everything can change as we have barely broken into the 2 hour mark. We are still running quite significantly, 7 minutes until the 2 hour mark is going to be we're going to take a look at here. So Lance in a commanding lead right now in the GTE field. He is followed by Rosta in the Risi Competizione Ferrari. And, there is a little bit of a gap between them. It's not something major, but as you can see, Lance's fastest lap is a 1:46.1, whilst Rosta's is 1:52. So there's a significant difference as Nick is also, he's closing up to Rosta, so it could be a Corvette 1-2 in a moment, actually, in a short time. But Nick running P3 in class 7 overall. That spin on lap 1 hasn't seemed to phase him. He is pressed on ever since that happened, and is looking likely to take P2. As I say that, he spins. I don't think he collected anything. He was lucky he spun on that specific part of the track, as that part of the track is very open. As I think Lance has been given a blue flag to Vasilios, so interesting. But there is a bit of a gap between people right now. There's not really a battle going on at the moment. I think the closest battle that we have is Vasilios and Reese. They are only separated by 5 seconds right now, so it's going to be interesting later on if Reese is running a different compound of tires, or if they're going to be able to close up to each other. Sandro running quite far behind. He's running in a very secure P3, and Yannick in P4. Also not under any threat, it would seem. But we're going to see if we can get some. What's the speedometer? A little bit difficult to say, but you know what? I think we're going to jump on board with one of our guys here, and we're going to do that in the cockpit view. We're going to jump on board Kamikaze Fox or Lance LeBron's Corvette. So we're going to have a look at what he is doing inside his cockpit of this beautiful yellow car. Beautiful car indeed, it is. As I think Reese has made a mistake, the gap to Vasilios has increased slightly to 6 seconds now, so the Greek driver out in front has taken a lead, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be giving it away anytime soon. So we're going to wait and see. There's not really much action out on track right now, actually. Unfortunately. As we are gonna have a look at Dion in his Risi Competizione Ferrari as he gets lapped by, I think that was Vasilios. No, it wasn't. It was Yannick. So, has Yannick upped his pace slightly? I don't know. He is 1 minute and 20 odd seconds behind Vasilios. Interesting to see if he can keep the pressure on the guys up front. As I think the closest battle, it is still Vasilios versus Reese. So not really much happening in the opening stage of this race, but it could change with a dash of rain or when the night comes, because we are going to translate I think transit into night time. So at some point we are going to have night settling in. I think at this point it seems like it's getting a little bit, the sun is setting, it seems, so it could get interesting at some point when the night sets in. It's going to be interesting also to see who is going to be the best driver through the night, as it requires different kinds of skills. One thing is driving in the daytime, but you also have to remember that these cars have headlights, unlike Formula 1 that you've been used to here on the channel. So the light that is going to come onto the track, apart from the oval track having its own floodlights, the infield section does not have its own floodlights, so the drivers are depending on their own headlights. So it's going to be interesting to see when that happens, what is going to happen. As I think we have a battle on our hands right now. Nick has caught up to Roster, as I predicted it would happen with that pace. And it's just a matter of time, I think, before he overtakes the Ferrari driver. You can see he brakes so much later than Roster. So it's interesting. It's going to be a Corvette 1-2, it seems, very shortly. As blue flags have been given to Dion yet again. And here comes Nick. Is it going to be a pass 4P2 in the class? He's going high. And he's in front now. Can he avoid the spin that he couldn't avoid on lap 1? Can. There we go. So Nick van Gelder into P2 in the GTE class. So it's a Corvette 1-2 right now. Very dominant performance from the American outfit. The question is just now, is Nick going to hunt down his teammate as well? That's going to be very interesting to say the least. And I think with those lap times, he could be leaving Roster pretty quickly behind. But we'll have to wait and see. Or can Roster keep up with him? It's going to be interesting to see. As you can see, different types of lines with the overhead shot there. Nick going for a more wide line than Roster taking a more tight line. And I don't know which one is more, what do you want to call it, preferred, but it doesn't really matter, does it? As there is a mistake in the timings, I think. It might be not, I don't know. I think there might be a mistake in the timings. But, yeah. So Lance, he has crossed the line. Nick is coming around to cross the line, I believe, soon. So not that far behind. So maybe we're going to see a team battle heading into the night. As you can see, sun is setting right now. And it is going to be interesting to see, because obviously, as we said... Oh, he's made a mistake there, Nick. Is he going to... No! Oh, no. We jinxed it, I think. So Roster heads up into P2. Nick has made a mistake. He's going to come back again. There's going to be a battle here, that's for sure. Nick heading for the outside. And I wonder, is there damage to that front end of the Corvette? Suspension damage or aerodynamical damage? That's very unfortunate. He's going to make a big boy lunge here. No, he thinks about it. Look at that. Beautiful line. He's going to... Doesn't seem like there's damage. Or if there is, he is able to work with it. Nick takes a tighter line. He spins it onto the infield once again. I think that was the same place as Rob spun it. He's heading across the grass now. Must be fuming. As he had just got P2 as Yannick is heading into the pits for the first time this race. So you would believe this is for tires. No, it isn't. It looks like it's just to get a splash of fuel. As Lance is now up into P4. Overall, a very incredible feat to achieve here with a GTE car. So what is happening here now? There's some repairs that needs to be done on that high class racing, as Roaster heads past Yannick, as Nick also passes Yannick. So Yannick is all the way down into 7th. He still says P4 overall in class. Here comes Rob. Is he going to be in front of Yannick? That's the question. He heads into turn 1. Yannick is not out of the pits yet. No, he's still a lap down, I think. I might be wrong. I actually don't know. Timings are a little bit wag, as Vasilios is now headed into the pits for the first time as well. So it must be for some repairs and some... but mainly for fuel, I would suspect. So we are going to start seeing pit stops now, as we have 1 hour and 54 minutes left of this race. So there's a long way to go, as Vasilios has completed his first pit stop of the race. It's going to be interesting to see where he emerges. Here comes Sandro. He's close. He's actually closely followed by Lance. So no, Lance is a lap down. So my mistake there. But on track, he is very close to Sandro. Oh, that's interesting. Sandro takes P2 now, as Vasilios heads out of the pits. So it's very interesting to see that the prototypes actually had to stop before the GT cars. As you would think the prototypes are more efficient on fuel. But not necessarily, apparently. We're following the new leader of the race. It is Reese March in his race where he substitutes for Mr. West as he runs high, but he taps the wall. Does he have damage? Don't know exactly, but I think there's going to be a battle here soon between Vasilios and Sandro's, an all-Greek battle, and there's also a battle between two different teams, Konica and High Class, so that's going to be interesting. We're looking forward to that, unless Sandro of course boxes very soon. And then we have Lance sitting in P4 overall, so a very impressive drive from him, as Nick has got in front of Roster again. As he spins it yet again. No, what has happened? He's spun it yet again coming out of that corner. As you can see, night is setting in now, so it's going to be interesting soon. But Roster passes Neek again, so we're going to catch up to this battle that we missed the first part of. But Neek and Roster going at it again. Oh, it's a tight battle. Oh, Neek gets a little bit sideways there. Keeps it. It's very difficult to run close to each other in these conditions. Sorry, not these conditions, obviously. So, and now there's a prototype also coming up to lap them. I suspect that that's not Sandra, that is actually Ree. So it's the leader coming around to lap the two battling GTE cars. And how is this going to transpire? So Neek, oh, they sort that out pretty beautifully. As Neek and Roster keep on battling. Is it going to be a lunge for Neek here? No, it isn't. Oh, Roster runs right there. He's run into the grass part of the infield. So Neek has passed him yet again. And as you can see, night has started to come. Floodlights has been put on, so we are starting to see some headlights getting turned on here. And Dion hasn't put his headlights on, neither has Rob. But it's going to be a beautiful show once we come into the night. And Lance hasn't put on his headlights as well, I think. I might be wrong. There they come. Just mentioned it. So Lance activating his headlights. Sandro also putting on his headlights. As that battle for P2 has not happened yet, so Sandro being able to keep Vasilios at bay for now. It's going to be interesting later on. Oh, look at that. You know what, we are actually going to take a quick run with Nick van Gelder in his cockpit, a lap of Daytona. So I'm going to be quiet and you can enjoy this sound. That is a lap of Daytona on board with Nick van Gelder in his Corvette. So as we were on board with Nick, there has been a change of lead. Reese March boxed for, I suppose, a splash of fuel and maybe some new tyres. Not entirely sure, actually. But that means Sandra Dulles has taken the lead. And he is still getting hunted down by Vasilios, who's closed the gap to 6 seconds at this time. And right now, there isn't really much happening. It is a case of people here just running their own races, it seems. As I think we could have a battle very shortly between the man in 6th and the man in 5th, Nick van Gelder and Yannick Verpeten. As Yannick has made some mistakes throughout the race, so it's going to be interesting. But he is behind Nick. He is catching him, but it's going to be a little while until we see those two battle. There is approximately 6 seconds between these two. Sorry. And Roster also sitting in a pretty comfortable P3 right now in class, 7th overall. And we have Rob Small, not really the debut he would have hoped for, I think. But things can still change. And of course, Dion Stahl is running in dead last. He's in P5 in class, 9th overall. So also not really the day he would have hoped for, as the gap has closed down to 2 seconds now between the leading drivers, Sandro and Vasilios Veliciotis, as Vasilios is flashing his lights at Sandro. So is he going to come up to lap someone? I think he thinks he's going to lap someone here, when in fact it's actually Sandro that he's catching up to. So this is going to be interesting. I don't think he knows this, but he must have realized by now that it is actually the leader that he's caught. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Between these two, battling in Formula 1, also now battling in IMSA, so it's going to be very interesting. He's still flashing his lights. That has to be a warning, because Sandro has been put off as he spins his car. So Sandro has spun his way out of the lead. Vasilios regains the lead after the pit stop round. Obviously Sandro hasn't pitted yet. There was a yellow flag somewhere, apparently. Don't know where. Very strange. We're going to put on a map here, just so that it's a little bit easier to keep up with the... with the action, I suppose. But let's see. As Sandro heads into the pits now. Oh, he's gonna he's made a mistake there. He's overshot his pit box. So he obviously didn't tell his mechanics to come out in time. So he's overshot his pit box. That's going to cost time for sure. As Reese is heading out of the chicane, he's definitely going to take Sandro. He's going to overtake Sandro. The question is, does Sandro have some damage that could see him fall to 4th? Behind Lance, possibly. There's definitely some damage there. As Reese is also heading into the pits. So has there been a tangle there between him and the wall? So this is going to be interesting. So Lance now, if they stay put for long enough, Sandro heads out of the pits. He's still in P2, so Reese, if he has significant damage, he could be overtaken by Lance. Okay, he has just come in. I don't know if it was for fuel or if it was for something else. As Rost has also come in. I think this is his first pit stop, maybe? So, first time he's into the pits. Lance is now out on the banking, heading towards the chicane. He's back up into speed, so he's not going to lose P3 overall. Reese, he is going to come out in P3 overall and in class, obviously. And with that, it is doesn't have too far to Sandro, so it's not too big of a gap. Could be a battle coming at some point, as Roster has fallen to last place now in his class. Blue flag for Yannick. That is interesting, and that is for, I believe, Vasilios. Yeah, so teammates lapping each other here. Vasilios lapping his teammate of the day, Yannick Verpeten. And now they're probably going to play a little bit of the clever game here, with giving each other a slipstream, as long as they don't make any mistakes. Roster is still sitting in the pit, so that is some significant damage. As I believe Neek is now into the pits, so that is crucial for, I don't know. So Neek is into the pits. I think, does this mean, no it doesn't. These timings are very confusing to follow, but we'll try, obviously. As Vasilios is flashing his lights at someone. It is one of the GT cars, I think. No, it isn't. It is the... Is it a lap car? Yeah, it is a lap car of Sandro Dooley's, so... As long as he doesn't get in the way of Vasilios, he is free to race. We'll see. But he's flashing erratically there. I think Sandro knows that he is there, but he is free to race if he can keep a significant distance to Vasilios, which could prove a little bit difficult, it seems. Vasilios getting very impatient. As long as he doesn't get in the way, Sandro, he's not doing anything wrong. Because Vasilios has turned his headlights off, flashing them very, very continuously. What's gonna happen here? They come around. He's flashing his lights quite significantly. Is he gonna go for the inside here? No, he isn't. So, and Sandro moves out of the way. Okay, so no problem there. As Vasilios has, I think he's accidentally turned off his headlights there. As Neek is back on track again, has lost the position to Yannick, but in class he is still sitting P2, so still a Corvette 1-2. So he's coming up to lap Dion, as Roster has been sitting in that pit lane for quite some time now. Has he ultimately given up, or what is happening? I actually don't know. It's very interesting. But all of this calamity with the Roster has promoted Rob up into P3 in class, so he's onto the podium again. It's a little bit wide there, and he is still getting used to the Ford. But let's run through the order right now. So your leader overall is Vasilios Velistiotis. He leads from Sandro Dooley's, then is Reese March, then top of the GTE class it is Lance Lebron, then follows the last prototype car of Yannick Verpeten. Second in his class is Nick van Gelder, then it is Rob Small, Dion Starr, and last, still sitting in the pits, it is Roaster. So not really much action going out on track. I think Nick is some... it's very difficult to actually tell because I don't think Lance has made a pit stop yet, actually. So that's very, very impressive. He's been able to go so long without running dry of fuel. Maybe he's just running a more full tank than most of the others have been doing. And Ross is still sitting in that pit. I don't think he's going to get out again. Just have quit. The fastest sector, it is Vasilios with a 39 seconds. Away slightly out of front, or slightly you should say. Dion has been given a blue flag to... That is Lance, so that's in class. No, that's not Lance, that is actually Nick. That's impressive. So Nick is close to lapping Dion. It could be very easy for Corvette if this continues this way. Oh, but Nick, no, what has he done there? No, he's crashed into the... Oh, what do they call the crash barrier? But, oh my goodness, that is a hefty crash right there. It's damaged that front end of his Corvette. And he's for sure going to have to head back into the pits right now to repair some damage. It seems like his... I don't know if he has engine problem with that crash or if it is suspension damage, but let's see if we can jump on board and see it. Not able to tell, unfortunately, but he's for sure going to have to head back into the pits, and it might be a lengthy repair, this one. Could see him move down to P3 in class. Was he gonna? He's gonna continue. Okay, so damage is not significant enough that Nick thinks it is time for a pit stop. One headlight. It is one headlight regardless, so he might just continue and do what he needs to do as Lance heads into the pit for the first time this race, I believe, and it is for new tires possibly, I don't know for sure. It's going to be for a little bit of fuel. He's been running very long, so it's going to be interesting. As Yannick has passed Lance, Lance is down to P5 overall. He had a good run in that P4 slot ever since Yannick boxed, but yeah, he is now down to P5. There are some small repairs there would naturally be after such a long stint, but he is now clear. With the things he's been putting in so far, I suspect he could possibly try and go very long again, maybe even to the end. That's still left to be seen, but he's gone very long indeed, and he has also kept out of trouble, so he's been very good so far in his full-time racing debut for SRL. And back on track is the American in the American team, and now he's going to try to go as long as possible, obviously, and he's under no threat from behind as his teammate is the nearest car behind, as Nick, I think, has decided to come into the pits for repairs, as you can see there. So I wonder if that is going to promote Rob Small into P2 in the class. But it is for repairs, this pit stop that Nick is making. So after his little crash in the infield with that wall, we are going to wait and see what is going to happen. And a man we really haven't been talking that much about, actually, Rob Small, is his first race in SRL, so and you must say getting a debut podium would be considered good as he moves up into P2, so Nick down to P3. But yeah, a debut podium in the GTE class, a class that is consisting of very competent drivers, with the likes of Lance LeBron, Nick van Gelder, Dion Starr, and originally also Reese March, and of course Rob's own teammate Jeremy Pope is also a very skilled driver. So a debut podium is nothing to be, I suppose, ashamed of. Of course he wants to win the class. It's unlikely, but with the performance that Lance has been putting in today, but a very strong showing from Rob, as I think he has made a mistake there. He must have spun it, because I saw those headlights facing the wrong way. Yep, he's back up to speed again. But if you are supporting this guy, you can be looking forward to much more of him, as he is going to be taking part in the series, yeah, as a full-time driver. And we hope to see his teammate in the next race, obviously, as Nick is still sitting in the pits and he has lost P3 in class to Dion, so that's very interesting. He's going to have to do some catching once he gets back out on track. It was a very hefty hit in that crash that he made, but you would suspect that he could maybe do some catching, as Dion has been given a blue flag to one of the high-class racing cars, I believe that is, and that must be Vasilios. Oh, sorry, it was one of the Konica Minolta cars. Those cars looks very similar, as Vasilios has just lapped Lance, and he's been in a very commanding lead, just like the man he just lapped, Lance LeBron. Very commanding lead. They haven't really looked back since they got into that position, and it's proving very good. Nick's still sitting in the pits, so we're gonna be following him quite significantly, I think, when he eventually gets out, because he's gonna have a lot of catching to do. I think we can confirm Rusta has officially called it a day and said, you know what, that's it. But we're gonna do something a little bit different here, as Vasilios laps Rob, sorry. Once he comes around to do his lap, we're gonna jump on board with him. So yeah, we're gonna enjoy a lap from one of the prototype cars, as he has turned off his headlights yet again. But I'm gonna be quiet now, and I'm gonna let you enjoy the roar of that engine in the back of the LMP car. So, unfortunately, we, I suppose, went on sport with Vasilios on the wrong lap, so he has really, unfortunately, binned it there. Nick is still sitting in the pits. Very long pit stop indeed. I wonder, I don't think he has retired. But we'll see. We'll see. What happens? Of course, if you have any questions about anything, pretty much, you should feel free to let us know in the comments or in the live chat, and we will. I'll try and answer them as best as I can, but I can't guarantee anything. Just thought Nick got going there, but he didn't. Unfortunately. As we had a lack of action out on track, we actually now have a battle on our hand, and it is between oh no. Sandro has binned it. I was just about to say we have a battle on our hands now, but that ended quite quickly actually, as Reese March was catching up to Sandro Dooley's. But unfortunately Sandro spun it coming out of the infield section, so I don't know if Reese has some damage after he tapped him, but that I suppose you could say that the battle is quite fast completed. Nick is still sitting in the pits. Don't actually know what's happening to him, but we'll try and find out. As we are trying to figure out what has actually happened to Nick, as he's not moving. My best guess would be a retirement, but I actually don't know. We can check though. Just a minute, timings. No, they are racing still. So it must be for repairs right now. It's a very long repair session, and I think that is going to leave him pretty much out of the running unless anyone in front comes across some trouble. So unfortunately we've lost 2 of the 2.5 GTE cars to damage, it seems. So it looks more and more likely it is going to be a victory for Lance LeBron, followed by Rob Small and then Dion Stahl. But we will continue to see if we can get you something. So there is some penalties actually. We haven't touched upon that. So Nick van Gelder actually has a 10-second time penalty hanging over him. So he's gonna, I don't know, he's gonna have to apply that to his race time. Dion has a 1-second time penalty, and then Yannick Verpeden has a 2-second time penalty hanging over him. And we can also see that currently we have done 38 laps if we take the leading driver, Reese March and Sandra Doolis, who are behind him, have done 37 laps. Then Yannick Verpeden is on 36 laps, Lance LeBron on 35, Rob Small on 34, same with Dion. Then Nick has been stationary for quite some time, so he's only done 28 laps, and stationary even longer is Roster with 22 laps on his timings right now. We're going to keep you updated on Nick as soon as it tells us what is going to happen. But apart from that, there's not really that much going on right now. It's a very quiet race at the moment. With Vasilios in the lead, Reese and Sandra trying to catch him, but they have 1 lap to gain. And Yannick is 2 laps down on him. And of course we have Lance, as he has been unlapped by Rob. So I think that means they are on the same lap count, or no, maybe it's because sorry, Lance is trying to lap Rob. Sorry. So Lance flashing his light at the Ford driver, trying to get him out of the way, and it's going to be interesting to see how they get this done. There's not really much happening. This is probably the best action we have on track right now, is the Corvette trying to lap the Ford, which tells you a lot about the current race. Unfortunately, it has transcended into one of those races where it's just not really much action happening, unfortunately. And Mr. Tim Venting asks when the race ends, and currently we have 1 hour and 19 minutes left of this race, so there is quite some time left, so there is plenty of room left for action to happen. And we haven't seen a change in weather, unfortunately, so very strange actually. It could spice things up, but yeah. As Lance spins, oh, I didn't catch that. I was looking at something else here, but Lance spins. It's not going to cost him anything though, apart from time lost to his closest competitor behind, which is Rob. So yeah, he's in no danger of losing that position though. But yeah, Tim, 1 hour and 19 minutes left of this race, and I hope that's the answer to your question. Otherwise, you have to ask it again, I'm afraid. And as we actually have Dion in the pits now. Bit interesting. I kind of missed that actually, but Dion has headed into the pits, so that's quite interesting. I suppose that's just for new tires and a splash of fuel. Nick still sitting in the pits. I wonder if he knows. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this means that currently out on track right now is only 2 GTE cars, and we'll hope that they rejoin soon. So we've done 41 laps so far, and we are, I think, just about halfway through this race. And in the lead it is Vasilios, who is coming into the pits, it seems. So he's also looking to get some fuel, maybe get some new tires, possibly. Second place it is Reese March. Third it is Sandro. Fourth is Yannick Verpeden. Then we have in fifth and number 1 in his class is Lance in the GTE class. And it is Rob Small in P6. Then we have Dion still sitting in the pits in P7. What's happening here? Is there a battle happening at some point here? Might be, depends. Vasilios is moving again, so yeah, as I said. And then Nick van Helder, he is sitting in P8 as we have lost roster, so he has decided to leave finally, and he was stationary in the pits for quite some time, so it's understandable, to say the very least. You can hear the beautiful scream of that Corvette running out on the high bankings into turn 1. And so there's not really much happening, so I figured that we might talk about something else for the time being until action ensues. What happens again as Yannick has into the pits, and he has overshot his pit box. Oh no, he has massively overshot his pit box. Oh, that's a shame. So he's gonna have to do full entry to the pits. So what's he gonna do? He's gonna go out again. He is. Question is, does he have enough fuel to complete a full lap if he's boxing for fuel? So he's missed his pit box. We'll see. But yeah, talking about something else right now, we are returning with Formula 1. Not this weekend, but I believe it was on the 11th of February, quite possibly, I don't know. I'll have to check up on that real quick. But yeah, apart from that, there's not really much happening in SRL right now, so we have January right now. It's a little bit unclear right now what date we are going to have the Australian Grand Prix. It's not going to be in a long time, but if you are interested, I believe there are still some available spots in a race that takes place next weekend, and that is of course the Underground Racing League doing the 2.4 hours of Daytona. So the same race as this one, but it is a different league. It is our usual commentator Lance LeBron, who's driving the Corvette today, who is the owner of that league, and they are also doing this race just in their league instead. So if you are feeling fresh for a bit of racing, sign up to that. You can contact Lance. His PSN tag is kamikaze-fox. So now we're gonna watch Yannick. Does he miss his pit box? No, he doesn't. Oh wait, he does. He's missed his pit box twice now, so he's had to reverse back into the pit box. That's a shame. But there we go. Yannick into the pits now. But if you feel interested in joining for next weekend, I'm not going to be commentating though, but Kamikaze Fox it is on PSN. Contact him. He's probably more than willing to give you a seat in that race. And drivers who are also going to be participating, I believe, is Reese March and quite possibly also Tim Venting. As we see, Lance moves up into P4 yet again. And, he's been doing really well for himself. He's closing up to Rob yet again, who he was trying to lap a couple of laps ago. But yeah, and we also have to say thanks to Underground Racing League for making this championship possible. They've supplied some very beautiful drivers to us, such as Rob himself and of course Lance, who is usually doing commentary, but he also runs a different league, so props to him for doing that. And also drivers that we will hopefully see in upcoming races. Jeremy Pope is he's also from Underground Racing League, as I just spotted that Yannick Verpeden has been given a drive-through penalty for track limits. So I suspect that is on the exit of the pits, that he has maybe crossed over into the racetrack a little bit before he was allowed to, so we'll see. But yeah, so we are waiting for something to happen. 1 hour and 10 minutes left. So far it's been a very clean race, you would say, as I think Rob is moving into the pits. He is, so that releases Lance, and obviously Yannick with that drive-through penalty for track limits. I don't exactly know what that is supposed to mean, but we'll see. As yeah, Rob is making a pit stop. It looks like it is for fuel and tires, possibly. And there we have Nick van Gelder. Who was that? That was Dion. He has retired his car. So I believe maybe damage was too significant. I don't know. But Yannick taking his drive-through penalty right now. And that's very strange. That promotes Nick up into 3rd place overall. And we're gonna try and see if we can figure out what actually happened there. You know what? We're actually gonna try and see if we can possibly get Mr. Dion Stahl himself into the call. So if you guys would hang on as we watch Yannick exit the pits from his drive-through, we're gonna cut onto Vasilios, and then I'm gonna see if I can get Dion into the call. He is gonna come in here and do something. So just a second, and he will be here. So we are now back on the stream, and we are waiting for a possible appearance of Dion.
Hey Samuel.
There he is, Mr. Dion Stahl. What happened, first of all?
Well, I went into the pit and I was changing my tires, getting some fuel in the car, and doing some repairs on my car. So I had some damage on the engine and my front wing of the bumper. And yeah, then I got a bug and I couldn't leave the pit lane. So that was just unfortunate. So it was unfortunate luck for me, and yeah, that was my race over.
And we suppose that's also what is happening to Neek right now.
No, Neek had another problem with the steering wheel, because he couldn't go into the option screen.
Ah, okay.
But he hadn't got a selection to adjust his pit system, so he couldn't change tires for the whole race, and yeah.
Okay,
that's why he retired.
So he's still in the pits, and he's going to be credited with 3rd place on a podium in that class. As it's starting to rain, it looks like, actually, so we might get some action finally, but
yeah, there was some rain falling last time.
Yeah, but can you comment on, was it fun so far, this series? It's finally underway, and it's a bit of a meme on this in this racing league that we can't start other series apart from Formula 1. It's finally underway. Is it something that you look forward to competing in the future?
Well, I really like the race until the bug happened, but yeah, that's just normal.
Yeah.
But it was just unfortunate that I got caught out on the start, started on the hards, as I actually lost out like 3-4 seconds a lap because of that. I actually had to start on the softs if I had the ideal strategy.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Afterwards, because I had to radio the pit stop around lap 6-7 already. Then I went into the pit lane, and I had new tires, and like 4 corners after I exited the pit lane, I spun and had damage, so I had to change that.
Yeah.
And when I came out of the pit lane, with all my repairs done, I accidentally crossed the pit lane exit line, and then I got a drive-through, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
That I was nearly already a lap down on everybody, but luckily I actually had some pace in the car, and I tried my best to gain on Rob and Fox, but they did a good job, and the gap was like for most of the time the same. But I started gaining on them. I passed yeah, I don't know his name. The guy who got invited by Kamikaze Fox.
Yeah, we've just been referring to him as Rosta. We actually don't know his actual name, unfortunately.
Well, Rosta, because he had also had to leave during the race, and he tried to park it up in the pit lane so he could race further on, but then he disconnected, unfortunately. And then later on, I passed Nick because he had a glitch. But I started gaining some time on Rob, but then when I went into the pit lane, I tried because it started. I heard from Jeff that it would start raining, but I only had like 2-3 liters left of fuel, so I had to pit for another set of softs and just fuel my car up. But unfortunately, I got stuck in the pit lane, and yeah, that was my race done. But luckily, all the other people already found it really fun. But it actually took a lot longer than we actually thought. But because like after 30 minutes, we already thought we had like done more than an hour. But yeah, then it was still like around 2 hours remaining. It's actually a lot of fun, and yeah, it takes a lot of time. But
yeah,
it's a good thing for SRL to have an IMSA league at the moment.
Yeah, and as we're just watching Lance, he went through the pits and accidentally missed his pit box. And was that also a problem? Because like this is the first time in SRL that you've actually manually had to control your car in the pits, and you had to find your pit box. Was that a difficulty that you found maybe interesting, or
well,
I don't know.
For me it wasn't really a difficulty.
Okay.
I actually found it pretty easily, but I think if you didn't know at the beginning at your first pit stop when you lose it, everybody, it can happen. Like Yannick also had it during the race, and he was nearly out of fuel.
And speaking about people missing their pit box, Reese March has just done what Fox did one lap ago, and has gone through the pits missing his pit box. So it seems like
it's really unfortunate.
So it seems like most of the people are having trouble to find their pit box, as Lance almost overshoots the entire pit lane now.
And Sandro will definitely also go into the pit lane. As he has on my screen only 1 liter of fuel left. So I don't know how he will make it, as Reese only has 2 liters left.
Yeah, he's gonna have to lift and coast massively.
Yeah, I think Sandro really has to lift and coast, because otherwise he won't make the pit lane. As Fox is now refueling his car.
Yeah, and
this
there he goes.
To wet.
Yeah, and I think there's a thunderstorm on the way, because we see some flashes of light every now and then.
Yeah.
It might be on the time for a thunderstorm here, so that's gonna spice things up. That's for sure.
But Fox stays on the slicks, and that's a really surprise to me actually. I didn't thought he would go to the soft.
Let's try and jump on board with him.
Sandro is lifting and coasting at the moment.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the rain is significant enough right now, so maybe Lance is correct to stay on the slicks, possibly, but I don't know. But as you said, it is fun racing these long races, or...
Yeah, it's really fun. I would recommend it to everybody.
Okay. And you're looking forward to the next one, which, of course, we're heading onto new tracks that we haven't raced on in SRL before. Sonoma Raceway is the next one in this championship.
Well, I know from just watching races on my own in my free time, like IMSA I watch sometimes, and I also watch some NASCAR and IndyCar and such races. And oh my god, I think Sandro got the same glitch. I think he can't leave his pit lane.
Is he? Wait, no.
And same for Reese. I think he's also stuck.
Reese has. I don't know what's happening.
I think they're both stuck in the pit lane. Oh no.
Sandro gets going, and I think Reese. Yeah, he gets going as well. Okay, that's nice.
That's good to see. Otherwise, it would be really hard.
It sounds like it's raining quite hard right now.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to tell, obviously. Trying to find a good camera angle.
You can see it on the cockpit cam that they have to use the wipers, so that's the thing to see for them.
Yeah.
And we have a nice fight on our hands, as Reese is only like 2 seconds behind Sandro.
We're going to watch one here. That's going to be very interesting, I think. Rob on Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes a...
it's at the moment 1 minute, but luckily Fox has like a full tank, and Rob also has it. Unfortunate that Rob is 1 lap behind, but you know, it's raining and everything can happen. And Rob is now trying to pass Fox.
Yeah, he is trying to unlap himself, it seems.
Yeah.
But it's actually been surprising how much speed Lance has had throughout this race, because I thought for sure that you guys would be able to keep up with him, but he's been running away with it ever since lap 1.
Yeah, well, we know that Lance is an American, and I think like Rob as well, he wants to represent himself really good on the tracks like IMSA. And then Daytona, first race of the season. You want to represent yourself, and since it's like his 2nd race overall, no, it's 3rd race after Indy 500 last year, and also the snowball race a month ago.
Yeah,
I think he just wants to let everybody see that he has the pace and wants to win. And with his friends Rob at the moment, they're right behind him. He's up a lap in front of everybody in his class. So he's doing very well at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you can tell me this, but what tires do we have on the 2 LMP2 cars of Sandro and Reese? I don't know if that's possible to see.
At the moment for me, it says that Sandro has slick tires in his car, and Reese also has slicks, but the difference is that Reese is only pitted for 44 liters of fuel, and Sandro has now still 71 liters of fuel left.
So Reese is gambling on this weather getting quite heavy.
Yeah.
At some point,
Yeah.
He has to come in and box for possibly intermediates or even full wets.
Yeah. And with that strategy of Reese with 44 liters of fuel, it's around the same strategy as Vasilio at the moment at the front. He's only at he's now 40 liters of fuel left. So I think they are around the same strategy as Reese is now 1 or 2 laps behind. I don't know for sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, and Rob has just got a track limits time penalty. I don't know how much it is, but he got a penalty instead.
So
and I think he has passed.
Yeah, he has.
Well,
He's gone past Lance. He has 1 second of time penalty, it seems.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's see how much he can do. Can he gain 1 lap back in just 75 of 57 minutes remaining?
And the interesting thing is that the previous lap from both of those cars were nearly identical. Rob did a 1:54.19 as Lance spins it. Oh, and who was that? That was Vasilios coming through.
Yeah.
So Vasilios has absolutely hammered into Lance as he was not that far behind. And for sure Lance has to come in now. So could this... I think this could spoil Lance's day, as he has to box for repairs. And as we said, Rob is only 1 lap down on him. He's on the same lap now, I think.
And unfortunately, Lance was just pitted, so he has, if he wants to repair it, it is always possible, but it's unfortunate as he just pitted like 2 laps ago.
I think he's trying to brave it out.
Yeah.
And he's staying...
Just wait to fill the wets.
Exactly.
Oh, and then Vasilios in the pits.
Vasilios comes in, and you would think, as he was the car who came in with a huge amount of speed, he was the one who's going to take the heftiest hits.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that, obviously.
Yeah.
But as Rob has now spun it, is it getting too wet out there for slicks at the moment?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. At the moment, Vasilios is still in the pits, and the gap between Reese and Sandro is 3 seconds, and they are gaining and gaining. So if they won't pit this lap, they may go ahead of Vasilios on track.
Unfortunately, we don't have anything that indicates how many percentage of water there is, or how heavy the water is.
Oh, but and Sandro and Reese are going on the front stretch.
So, could this mean...
I think they've passed him. Oh no, they would... Ah man, that's unfortunate. They were 2 laps down.
So Sandro... Yeah, they're still 1 lap down, but...
Yeah, they're 1 lap down. Yeah, not anymore, but they are...
So they are 1 lap down now, but...
Yeah. And Vasilios comes right behind Yannick.
So hopefully he can hope that his teammate is going to help him a little bit.
Yeah.
He gets out of the way pretty quickly though.
Yeah, Yannick has done a pretty good job as he hadn't had any practice, and unfortunately he's lost the NLP Tool class, but what can you expect when you haven't practiced like the other guys?
Yeah, exactly.
And probably he hasn't got the setup. He's now like, 4.5 minutes behind Reese and Sandro, but probably he had a lot of fun passing the GTs and just getting a talk with us, since it was a long time ago.
And I think he wants to stay in here because we have seen some mistakes by Vasilios, Sandro and Reese. Not so many by Yannick actually. So maybe we could see if one of the other guys get into trouble that he moves up into a podium position, as the track is now glinsing of water, so I think it is getting time for wets, possibly. As Lance has parked it. What has happened here?
I think he has spun again.
He spun into turn 1. He spun into turn 1. So he didn't box.
That's unfortunate.
So he didn't box.
He didn't box yet.
And I'm just wondering if that's just... Yeah, wondering if that suspension damage that he may have got when Vasilios hit him, could that have been the cause of his spin into turn 1? Because I do know
you
that.
Never know.
Because I do know you lean quite heavily on
and
your
he's
car.
going slow. He's really going slow.
So he must have
that
some.
Before letting the other cars past, or was it just damage?
Yeah.
I know that the first corner was tricky. It was tricky for me in the Ferrari, but I don't know.
As Rob spins now, so I don't think it could be damage. It could also just be that the track is covered in water.
Yeah, I think it can also be of the rain, because he has binned it in the first part of the bus stop.
Exactly.
So yeah. But the fortunate thing is that Reese is gaining at the moment on Sandro. Well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, it's surprising me that Vasilios has pitted, but has gone back to the slicks.
Oh, and that's Lance. Makes a little. His car jumps up in the air as he hits the upper wall of the bankings. And with 52 minutes to go, this race has just got a lot more exciting, I think.
Yeah.
Water absolutely everywhere. I think everyone has to come in for some tires now, possibly.
Yeah. Well, I expect Lance going into the pits immediately as he has damage. So.
Yeah, and you would think.
Know. Ooh,
and you would think.
Also nearly spun.
Yeah, and you would think with the damage, that the time it takes to repair, by then the track is going to be wet enough for intermediates at least.
Yeah.
As Reese has. As you said, caught up to Sandro. So we have a battle here.
He just gained 1.6 seconds on Sandro, so...
Is he on intermediates, possibly?
Yeah, I don't know. But he's also like 2.5 seconds faster than Zilio, so I'm interested at his pace.
So maybe... I really don't know at this point. Because there's no way of telling it if they are on... Inters or what tires they are on, but as you say, he is significantly faster right now.
Well, at the moment on my screen, vehicle says that they are all on slicks at the moment, but yeah, maybe it's glitched as well.
As Lance heads into the pits and he makes the switch of tires, so he is going on to intermediates, I think. That's very clever from him, as his repair time is going to cost him a little bit of time in pits.
Yeah.
And I wonder what are other people going to do.
Yeah. And if Rob will pass Lance.
I think maybe Rob is coming in. He's sliding everywhere. And it depends. Rob is sliding quite hefty. But the problem is also that you would think that the prototype cars have so much more grip, since they are prototypes essentially, and they have like... they are built for racing, whereas the GTE cars, they are basically just road cars with a bunch of aerodynamics and a buffed engine, essentially.
Oh, and Rob is coming right side to side with
is he going to get in the way of this battle now?
Ooh, and he's going onto the grass.
He's gone out of the way pretty well there. And there comes Lance! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he's right behind him.
Oh my goodness, he comes out. So that battle for second place has saved Lance from losing the lead in the GTE class.
Yeah, it's a big fight now for two positions. The lead of the GTEs and also...
oh no, Reese! He's missed his braking point and he's...
Oh, and he has crashed into Sandro! He has crashed into Sandro! He has lost his rear wing, Sandro.
Yeah, he's going to come into the pits now. Reese is going to come into the pits now.
Yeah,
Lance has avoided everything, and so has Rob.
Yeah.
But Reese completely lost his braking point there. We managed just to catch it on the stream. And has rammed Sandro up the rear. And I think Vasilios is also in the middle of all of that. He's lapping everyone at this point.
Yeah, everybody is close to each other at the moment. That's nice to see.
So everybody...
The only one who's not Yannick, unfortunately.
Yeah, everyone except Yannick is caught on the same bit of tarmac right now.
Yeah, and that after like 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's just
exactly. And I think that... somebody has spun there. That's Sandro.
Oh no! And they glided!
Oh,
Sandro collided again, and Fox has spun as well.
So
Fox has spun as well.
So everything is kicking off here.
And and Rob has spun.
No, Rob has
Rob
not.
spun, everybody has spun, except of Vasilios, who's in the lead.
Rob has
Everybody
made it through as
voted.
well, so he's into the lead of the GTE class. I did not think
and
I would say that.
Just wall riding.
So Sandra's going to come into the pits. Reese is heading into the pits. Vasilios continues. Rob has a challenge mounted as he is getting caught down by
Reese's
Lance.
track limits. He has a drive-through penalty first.
Oh my goodness. As the battle we're going to follow is going to be Rob and Lance. Oh no!
Ooh, and they collided.
That was a little bit close to be able to see, but I think Lance went full send on Rob there.
Yeah.
And send it down the inside. And who's that behind? I think that's
Yannick, probably.
That's Yannick. Catching these two battling. So
yeah, and Reese is coming out of the pits again, but he has to pit still because there was only a drive-through penalty.
So
he has a lot of damage because his left headlight is damaged.
Yeah.
Oh man, and he got another drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits at the pit lane, at the pit exit line.
Yeah, so he has. Oh my goodness, what is happening here?
He has to make another drive-through penalty, and then he can pit.
Yeah. So Rob is spinning, and oh no!
Oh my god! And he has collided. Rob has collided.
So Reese is taking out Rob this time. Rob has lost his rear wing. Yeah. He's going to come into the pits.
Oh man!
And Lance, in the meantime, alongside with Vasilios, has avoided all of this, and both of them are leading their classes.
Yeah.
And they're going to stroll away now.
Reese has got a lot of suspension damage, and the unfortunate thing for him is that he has first to serve his drive-through penalty, and afterwards he only can go for his real pit stop. So it will hamper like really much, as Sandro is still in the pit lane with all his damage.
And Sandro writes in the chat that Reese just rear-ended him. Yeah, and we saw that because like we managed just to catch it. That I think he missed his braking point maybe, but he is. Yeah, he's really not made it good for himself here.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think Yannick is is the big winner of this situation. He has gained a lot of Sandro and also on Reese when he takes his drive-through penalty and afterwards pits because he has lost so much. He has some front wing damage of bumper, I should say. He has got suspension damage, and he also has like low on fuel. As well. Yes, he is also low on fuel, so it will be like a 2-minute pit stop for Reese.
So Reese is heading into the pits now. That's to complete a drive-through.
Oh, and Sandro also got a drive-through penalty for track limit.
And Yannick is only 2 laps behind Sandro and Reese. So if they keep...
And Reese is... Oh man.
Reese has forgot that he...
Reese was going for his pit stop, but he lost his box because he thought he was going to pit, but it was still a drive-through penalty.
So the thing you have to do is that you have to complete your drive-through penalties before you can get served in the pits, and he didn't know that. As Rob is now making a pit stop after, and he's gonna have a lot of repair time.
Yeah, this will be fun to see.
Yeah.
Which will be faster? Reese on 1 lap with all his damage and then pit again, or Sandro with 2 laps and then with serving his drive-through penalty.
So Reese needs to avoid a track limit here, and he has done that. So he doesn't have a drive-through. He is on a mission to complete a lap and then come into the pits and box. Sandro has a drive-through. Meanwhile, Yannick 2 laps behind both of them. Yeah, but he doesn't have any penalties.
Yes, exactly. He's the real winner of this situation. The only thing for Yannick is that he has only 9 liters left of fuel, so he has to pit in around 2 or 3 laps.
So, I do not even dare, as Rob heads out of the pit, that was a quick pit stop actually.
Yeah. Oh, and he's right behind Sandro, who's serving his drive-through penalty.
Yeah, so Sandro is going to be clear of penalties once he gets out, unless he makes a mistake on the exit.
Unless he bubbles.
Rob is out of the pits as well.
Yeah. But the weird thing for me is that Rob is on slicks again on my screen. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, then it's really weird.
It's difficult to tell. But we will see. Is that Yannick? Yeah, I think that's Yannick.
And they nearly collide.
Yeah, that's Yannick.
Yeah, Yannick and Rob nearly collided. Yannick is now on the inside, struggling.
And I think you can excuse Rob for not knowing Yannick was going to be there, as there is a giant wall heading out of that pit. So
exactly, you just couldn't see it in his mirrors. And the only thing is, if Yannick was already side to side with him, side by side, it's just a wall-related situation you then get.
So Reese comes into the pits, and this time for his pit stop to get his car fixed.
Hopefully the crew will be waiting for him. And
exactly.
Not, like last time. But I don't see them. I actually don't see them at the moment.
He's
time penalty! The pit lane violation. I think he has sped into the pit lane.
So what does this mean? And he's missed his pit box. Everything is going down the drain for Reese March right now.
Yeah, this is third pit stop in a row in 3 laps time without making a pit stop.
He has 10 seconds time penalty.
Oh man.
Plus whatever, and he has to make a pit stop now.
Yeah. And I think he's still got his damage headlight.
Exactly.
And his suspension damage, his front bumper damage. And Sandro is closing and he's nearly at the start another lap. And
so
I think there's nearly a lost case for Reese at the moment.
Sandro is on the same lap as Reese. Yannick, once he crosses the line, Yannick is 2 laps behind Reese.
Yannick is going into the pit lane now.
Okay, so there's a pit stop for Yannick there. Don't know why.
He is nearly out of fuel.
It has to be for tires, you would think. Yeah, it is for tires, I think. Or is it?
Well, I think it was also for fuel, as he only had like 4 liters left. So that's probably also a situation. It was now or this lap or next lap, so why not do this?
Yeah, exactly. So fuel is done.
Now also gets clear track,
he's gonna get a change of tires. Probably the smartest idea. As I don't know if he's heading onto wet tires, possibly. Could be.
Well,
would not be a stupid idea. You would think.
I think they are still on slicks. He is still on slicks. Soft.
So, here we go. There's going to be some repair damage, possibly. Yeah, Yannick is going to get some repairs done.
Yeah. It's probably the best thing to do at the moment. He's not in a fight at the moment. The only
and
thing
he could gain from it, you have to remember. As Reese now, let's see if his pit crew is out now. So he's not going to miss it this time.
Really?
Or is
I don't see them. They are coming.
There they
Reese was already standing there before his pit crew came.
So
he has to wait again. He just has to wait for his pit crew.
Okay, so I made a mistake there. I assumed that it was Reese's pit crew. It was actually Yannick's, as Sandro has now overtaken Reese for P2. And the man we are now
it will be a long pistol for Reese. Sandro may even lap him.
Yeah. But the thing that's really interesting could be, is Yannick gonna overtake Reese? He is on lap... Yannick is on lap 57. Reese is on lap 59. So he's 2 laps behind. Oh, as they nearly collide there. I think that was Sandro and Yannick.
Yeah, Yannick just came out of the pits and Sandro was there. Well, Yannick ran wide and he tried to rejoin on the track, but he probably hasn't seen Sandro coming there as well.
Exactly. And I think the clever thing is that of Nick to stay in this race right now. You never know if he's going to get his equipment working again, but it's unlikely at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's relatively quiet in the GTE field right now, with Lance and Rob being the only 2 drivers running at the moment.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the prototype class was the one that sparked all the calamity. Surprisingly, as Reese has done with his pit stop.
Yeah,
so he needs to.
At the moment is in the bus stop.
So he needs to avoid crossing into the racetrack too early, otherwise he's going to get another drive-through.
Yeah, exactly.
So Yannick is on lap 57. He's coming around to start lap 58. So Reese is still 2 laps ahead of Yannick.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Probably Vasilios also has made a mistake. Sandro's last lap was 4 seconds faster than Vasilios. And now, 3 at the moment, but still.
Yeah.
I think he has made a mistake. Or he has really tire problems at the moment.
I actually don't know. His last lap time was a 1:46. Sandro's was a 1:44. as Reese has now headed back onto track without getting a drive-through, so he's now clear to race yet again.
Yeah, lucky him.
Yeah.
But
so,
he's also lucky in front of Sandro, so he won't get the blue flag. So if he gets some strong laps in, he may even get him. As I don't think he has the bit gap for fuel, as he has now 73 liters of fuel. While Sandro may even has to pit for fuel, well, because he has only like 61% of the liters.
And that's if the rain continues, but there's also another thing you have to take into consideration. Reese has a 10-second time penalty for smashing up the rear of Sandro. Sandro doesn't have any penalties.
Yeah,
so
true.
he needs to overtake Sandro, but then he also needs to gap him by 10 seconds before he secures that what will be second place possibly.
Yeah, I will also be looking to the end of the GTE class, as Kamikaze Fox at the moment is 4.5 seconds a lap slower than a Rob. And Rob spins it! And he has lost this. But I don't think he has got damage.
He has collected a few cones there, so that could be trouble. Possibly. Where is he on track though? Oi, oi, oi!
Oh, that was close.
That was Vasilios coming steaming through.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was in the first... I don't actually know the corner names, but...
I don't know. It was the fast left-hander. I think it's called corkscrew, but I don't know for sure.
You might be right. But Nick has just confirmed why he cannot continue. He forgot to let his pit crew know that he needs fuel, so he has actually run out of fuel. He's not going to be able to continue another lap.
Oh yeah.
As
Yannick... that is also an important part for a car, so that's really important for him.
So he's run out of fuel and he's not able to continue, and I think it's the right thing to do when you know you don't have enough fuel to continue, that you stay in the pit lane, because unlike in Formula 1, these cars do not share pit boxes. They have each got their different pit box, so it's very noble of him to stay in the pit lane and just call it a day when he knows he's going to cause trouble if he goes out on track.
Exactly. And Yannick is going out of on track after he went into the pit lane again.
He was stopping in the pit box. I don't know if he had a quick change of tires or what that was.
I don't know as well, but I think his pit limit was still on. Oh no, now he lost it. He's now going fast again.
But
I think for Yannick this will also be his last pit stop, as he's still in slicks. And he has 74 liters of fuel, so probably it was also the last pit stop for Yannick if he doesn't get any more.
It should be enough to continue to the end, at least, you would think. Vasilios, he has 40 liters of fuel.
Yeah, he probably still has to pit again.
Yeah, and Sandro has 56 liters. Reese has 68, so he could go to the end, possibly.
I think Reese is also safe, but at the moment he is 2.5 seconds faster than Sandro, so he may gain back the time that he has lost with all his bottling and drive-through penalties.
And the interesting thing is that Lance could also possibly go to the end. The same with Rob. They respectively have 70 and 76 liters of fuel each. So, and we can just take...
I'm looking forward to the end of the GTE class. Also because it's just my racing class where I'm also driving in, but also because I think Rob has the pace over Fox at the moment. And that means that he may get to him in the end if he doesn't make any errors and Fox makes some. But we don't hope so. But...
Well, Rob's last lap was a 2 minute and 8. Lance managed to do a 2 minute and 2, so he is actually faster, Lance. Surprising.
Yeah, but you have to say Rob also spun that lap, so we will see representative lap times after this one. Because Rob is now nearly at the finish line, and Fox is as well. So we can see.
Yeah, and Luke Mathiasen, who races in Formula 1, asks if there's going to be a USGP post. So for those who don't know, the United States Grand Prix in Formula 1 was last weekend, and we haven't made a post on Instagram about the final standings, the final order of the finishers. That is because we had to plan this, and there was some trouble also with determining some penalties that had an impact on the finishing order. So it will come, but we are a little bit behind schedule, unfortunately, on that front.
As at the moment, Reese is setting faster lap times even than Vasilios, and he has gained 4 seconds his lap on Sandro. And Rob has gained 2.6 seconds on Fox.
As they are starting to do solid lap times, Lance did a 1:59 and Rob did a 1:57, so
yeah,
you are right, he is gaining, if he keeps that up, he's going to gain 2 seconds per lap.
Yeah, will it be enough? That's the question.
I don't know. Well,
same for Reese, but Reese is, well, the lap time for him is 1:42, so let's say like 18 laps in still. Then it would be with maths 72 seconds, 1 minute 12 gain, with the gap at the moment like 76. Well, 76. He will be 4 seconds behind Sandro, but Sandro still needs to pit. So the chance is there. Oh, and there's a Corvette is smoking. It may look like it's a spray, but he has some damage.
There are some problems.
Ooh, and Fox is really
he's holding up. That was Sandro. He held up Sandro a little bit there. But you say that. I think the smoke you were referring to is spray, maybe.
Yeah, it probably was a spray because I now also see it. It may even be a glitch on my screen. Look at the smoke, but probably just a spray from his rear tires.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has problems though.
Yeah. Well, he's doing good lap time, so why should we get?
Yeah, his last lap was a 2-minute flat, and but Rob's last lap was a 1:57. Depends on what lap time he does when he comes around.
Yeah. As Reese gained another 2.6 seconds on Sandro.
So there could be a battle towards the end of the race. We have half an hour to go, and this middle part of the race has gone by in a flash, mainly because of the rain setting in and then making everything a little bit more unpredictable and things starting to happen. But that first part of the race, it was so lacking action. It was quite boring actually.
Yeah.
But luckily
there were big gaps in the beginning.
Exactly.
I knew that Sandro and Reese were still close to each other, but Vasilios already had a gap of like in the beginning of 5 seconds, and it only when it became more and more. And afterwards there were some battles in the midfield of the GTE cars, but then Roaster, sorry for you that I don't know your name. Oh, and Rob has spun. Rob has
spun it, and it is on the exit, it seems, to the oval section.
Yeah, at the exit of the bus stop. It's just spun.
Oh, it's on the exit of the bus stop, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was on the exit of the infield section, but I was mistaken there. But luckily there's a lot of space when you... also when I think Niki spun a couple of times coming out of the infield section onto the oval part.
Yeah.
He spun a couple of times, and
the bus stop, the end of the infield section and the first corner are the bottom parts for the most of those guys, as that is the most difficult for us.
Yeah.
And Sandro now has set a faster lap time than Reese. Sandro has just gained like 2.5 seconds on his own fastest lap of his previous lap.
That's
so
true.
at the moment, I think Sandro will keep his second place. It goes on like this.
Yeah, it depends. We'll see what lap time Reese does when he comes around. Because right now, I think this is 2 lap times from 2 different laps, actually. Might be, I don't know.
I don't know.
But Reese, he is coming onto the bus stops now, so where's Sandro? He is...
Sandro is right behind him. He's also going to the bus stop.
Yeah. So I think Reese might have made a mistake, possibly, that we didn't catch.
I don't know. Well, they are driving the same pace as Vasilios at the moment, so I don't think he has made any mistakes. I think that Sandro just has picked up his pace and went faster than he has done previous laps.
So let's see. Reese comes across the line. is a 1:43.3. It's only 3/10 slower than Sandro. Actually.
Yeah, and it's even just a few hundreds quite faster than Vassilios. As Sandro now goes for a 1:42.2, and he's more than 1 second faster than Reese.
So he knows he needs to up his pace.
Yeah.
The fastest lap we have currently, of course, was set in the dry conditions. It is Vassilios who holds the fastest lap, which also gives you 1 point. And it is a 1:36.041. So it is quite a fast lap, and it is significantly faster than most of the others. The only one who got really close, and it's quite surprisingly, is Reese with a 1:36.483. So
that's really surprising, actually.
You must say, Reese is really, apart from the stupid mistakes.
And Sandro has spun it. He has spun it to the end, and he has touched the wall with his front bumper.
Oh no, and that is actually one of the bottle points, as we discussed.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know if he has got some damage, but he has hit the wall.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like there could be trouble for Sandro, actually, with the car.
Yeah, maybe he has got some engine damage because of that.
So he's
that
hitting.
Will also hamper you.
So on the bankings, he's hitting 280 kilometers an hour. No, actually no. So let's test it. When he comes through to the banking, what speeds does he do?
No, I think you got to slow down there.
Reese is doing close to 300 kilometers an hour on the bankings. Sandro is only doing 250.
Yeah, but it's not still the end of the straight. Let's see. 280, 285.
Here he comes around the bankings.
291, 292.
So he's
292, 293 is his peak.
So he's ever so slightly slower than Reese on the bankings. But that could prove a problem, as this track is... It requires high top speed.
Yeah.
Even though there's an infield section. And if Sandro has some suspension damage, the infield section is going to be a lot more trickier than the bankings itself.
Exactly, and with the rain it will only be worse and worse.
And with this game there's also puddles of water scattered across in lower parts of the track where there's like a bump or something. There is going to be puddles of water. I wonder if that's what he...
Reese is now lucky.
Sandro spins again. He spins coming...
Oh, again!
It's the same place.
Oh man.
So... Reese...
And Reese was just lucky with the slipstream of Yannick at the straight.
But he is still nearly half a lap behind Sandro.
Yeah.
But as you said...
Yeah, but still, Sandro has still to pit, probably.
That's true.
Vassilios definitely has to pit. Maybe Sandro will lift and coast to the finish. That may be possible, but that will be close then. As I think he has to go to... I think he has to use around 38 meters still. So there will be a really close one for him.
But as you say, Vassilios, he has to box again, but then again, he doesn't really have anything that he loses from it.
He's now nearly 4 laps in front.
Yeah.
I think it's for him chicken winner, something dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, but...
Yeah, I don't actually know how it goes actually, but...
Winner chicken dinner.
That's the one,
That's what it is.
But Reese, he has 50 laps of fuel and Sandro 37 laps of fuel. If he keeps spinning, Reese is going to catch him regardless of what he does.
Yeah.
Yannick, he could also go to the end, I suspect. Yeah. So, to the front two, we might have to see another stop from, as it is raining absolutely cats. Oh, Sandro spins again.
Same. Oh no, it's a different corner. He probably went on the grass while braking.
Must have been.
Still.
Yeah, as the grass, normally it's quite slippery, but in these conditions, it's something else. As Vassilios is pitting. So Vassilios
I think they are now going for wet. They are definitely going for wet, because the lap times are going slower than normal. A few laps ago they were still going for the 1:42, but now they're already 1:45, 1:46.
Let's see. Maybe that's the saving grace of Sandro, if Reese also has to box for wet tires.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you never know if Samuel has got damaged and he has a long pit stop.
That's true. Like from the contact with the exit wall on the exit of the infield, it could be what could gift Reese P2. But Vasilios stationary in the pits. As I say that, he actually gets going, so...
Yeah. Well, I think it's just a glitch on my screen, as it still says that they are soft. But you never know, maybe it's in the game that they are always driving on soft in those heavy conditions. It's thunderstorm, nearly a blizzard without the ice.
It is a thunderstorm at this point, you would say, with the way it's raining.
Yeah.
And the heavy spray of all the cars.
Yeah.
As Vasilios comes out of the pits.
Yeah, but he's going slowly. He's really good. Oh, he's just letting past the Sandro.
He doesn't want any trouble at all today. He is gonna cruise this one home. And,
Vasilios will. I think Vasilios will pass him again.
Vasilios, he is 2 laps in front, Vasilios. So, or in this case, 1 lap.
Oh, Sandro runs wide again.
He's having trouble with that Cadillac car right now.
Yeah. Last lap they were around the same pace as Reese, but with those mistakes he will lose it. He will definitely lose, because there he lost like 4 seconds again.
Yeah.
Just by going wide. As Reese is now already in the last corner, as Sandro still is in the corner before the bus stop.
So, but the difference haven't really changed that much actually. I think Reese might have made some mistakes of his own, possibly.
Ooh, and Rob has spun as well. In the same corner as Sandro just did. He spun also while braking on the grass.
So, tricky conditions right now with the water.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we're going to jump on board with the Ford driver to see how it actually looks from where he's sitting.
Exactly.
It is tragic.
Raining harder.
It's tragic conditions. It looks much more worse up here from the commentary box, obviously, because we have the floodlights shining over there.
Exactly.
The raindrops itself.
But it's being a morning session now, as the lights on the track are out.
Yeah.
So that's good to see for them. They probably now don't have to use their headlights anymore. So, and I see some light clouds further on the track when you look in Sandro's perspective.
As Yannick
nice
laps Lance, I think that was,
yes.
So
Lance just picking his slipstream.
Yeah. I think it's the right thing to do. He is running P1 in his class, and the thing you have to remember about these races is that you don't have to win the overall championship. Of course, it is nice, but you know you are in a car that is significantly slower than the prototypes. So going for a category victory instead is probably the preferred thing for the likes of Rob and not Vasilios, Lance.
Yeah, exactly. As probably it is already a rare to see a GTE car on the podium in the overall class. Most of the time when the LMP2 cars have DNF, or they have participated like with 2 cars.
Exactly.
Still.
Like we also see.
It's good to see Lance and Rob being at the front at the moment at a home Grand Prix.
Yeah, we say that the home Grand Prix, but like we are only racing in the USA for this season so far. Apart from also obviously the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, which is in France. But apart from that, IMSA is a US-based category, so or series. So they are going to be racing. What?
Last lap, Sandro has gained another 3 seconds on Reese again. I don't know what has happened to Reese, but he has just lost 3 seconds again on Sandro.
Yeah. It seems like he was good when it was intermediate conditions, and when it turned into wets, it was not really his cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily for him, he has got another slipstream of Rob at the moment at the straight.
Yeah. But once again, like, the weather has settled in now and is staying very constant, and things are starting to settle in as well. So the order has been determined, and it's not really changed that much from when the dry period was.
Yeah. Most places have been the same. Oh, and Reed has just touched the wall while being on the straight.
Ooh.
I don't know what happened. Maybe he just lost a bit of concentration, but he definitely hit the wall there.
But yeah, that's also a thing we didn't talk so much about. Usually when we do Formula 1 races, it's only around 1.5 hours. This race, the race in itself this time has been 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
compared
it's definitely a different part of motorsport.
Exactly.
This is more at the mental part of the driver.
Like saying 1.5 hours for Formula 1, that's for qualifying and the race, and qualifying is 15 minutes, I think, so only 1 hour and 15 minutes of racing in Formula 1. This time there was a 15-minute qualifying session and then a 2.5 hour race afterwards. They're going to be tired after this, or lose concentration quite easily, I think.
Something like that, of just being fit or not sitting well in your chair.
Yeah.
Needing to go to the bathroom, just having not having to drink like Kimmy.
Exactly.
Or just wanting to eat. And it's already for most of us dinner time. So yeah. So you never know. Everything can happen in those kind of races, and it's definitely different than Formula 1.
Yeah.
When you look like when Formula 1. It's just always like the same car as when you are driving, and for most of us it's also a more familiar track than like these American tracks when most of us haven't even raced on. And like this you also drive in longer races, but also with different classes. Normally they are all the same Formula 1 cars, but now you also have to look for LMP2 cars, and normally also then for GTE and GT3 cars.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just different.
And Reese has clattered the pit wall on turn 1.
He has lost. Yeah.
Oh.
I think he has lost. His back end and then spun into the inside wall of the pit lane.
Yeah. Again, a lack of concentration. It's nearly been 2.5 hours since we started, and I think that car has to come in again. That car definitely has to come in for another pit stop.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for Yannick? Yannick is still 3 laps behind. Reese is running onto the grass.
Just ran wide again.
I think that car is having some major trouble right now. Or maybe he's just trying to stay off track to not crash into anybody.
Yeah, I think he's just lost control of his car. He's still again the drive. I think he has just a lot of suspension damage.
It must be.
And Vasilius has spun. Vasilius has spun as well.
Yeah, we can't see where he is.
And
Yannick!
No! Again.
So, Yannick has now... He ran into the wall, Reese has touched him on the rear, spun him a little bit around, and Vasilios also spun a little bit. And what does this mean for Sandro? He's still 2 laps behind Vasilios. That's what we keep forgetting all the time, that these cars are not split by only a couple of seconds, they're split by minutes at this point.
The unfortunate thing is for Sandro that because Vasilios was right there and just spun and he doesn't even have any damage, so he doesn't have to pit again.
Exactly. I think Rob, he has to stay out of this one right now if he doesn't want anything. And Yannick has now a 2-second time penalty for something I don't know what is.
But and he has lost his rear wing, so he has another long pit stop to go.
Exactly, and so does Reese.
Same for Reese, as he is going into the pits now. So hopefully he doesn't speed into the pit lane or cross the exit line again, as that would be a pity for him.
And he knows where his pit box is this time, it seems.
Yeah.
So,
no
problems there.
Yeah, luckily he won't make the same mistake again. Luckily, he knows what the pit lane is after driving 4 times again afterwards into the pit lane.
But I think that could happen actually. If Yannick's pit stop is too long, we have a Corvette that is only 2 laps behind the last prototype. And we saw in the middle part of the race that Yannick was running at some point before Lance made his pit stop. Yannick was running behind Lance.
Yeah, well, he had some damage in the beginning, and so he was in 7th place at the time. He was even behind the wall podium of the GTE cars at the time.
Yeah.
But luckily for him, he is now ahead of them, as Yannick has already left the pit lane and Reese is still there.
And what does... he still has to complete 2 laps without Reese moving.
Yeah, but I think Reese's reparations are nearly done.
It has to be. Yeah, he moves now, so... Reese is also underway, so... And Rob spins it now, coming into the bus stop.
Oh, and Vasilios nearly collided with Sandro.
Oh.
But he's still side... Oh, fuck. Oh, man.
What's this gonna be? So Sandro is trying to unlap himself from Vasilios, it seems.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I disconnected.
Oh.
Oh, so that is unfortunately for the commentary. But I got some invite, so I may can join back.
Yeah, hopefully. But, yeah, Sandro trying to unlap himself, it seems. He is 2 laps behind Vasilios at this moment. And Vasilios managed to keep it in front of him on track. And Reese has bottled it into the wall yet again. This time...
No way.
Where is he? He is... Okay, he's on the first... I don't actually know what the name of this corner is. It's the first slow hairpin into the infield section.
Oh, that one.
So...
Yeah, I don't know what the name is, but he probably braked on the grass, and that's why he spun.
Possibly. I don't know if he has damage though. It's still yet to be seen, but with 10 minutes to go, for sure this race is not over yet. Oh, Reese has spun it again somewhere. He is somewhere. And that's Rob. Comes sliding across our screen. Reese spun it. Rob has also spun it. And has come sliding across the screen as we were monitoring Reese after his little spin. I think Reese has some damage. Looks like. Oi, oi, oi. I think he struggles to keep it in a straight line. Let's see when he heads into the bus stop. Yeah, doesn't look too tricky though. But 10 minutes to go, and Rob has made a mistake into the bus stop as well. And he's very aggressive on his shifting. Reese comes into the pits now. What does this mean? The race feed is filled of Sandro getting a blue flag, so he's been lapped significantly amount of times.
Yeah. Probably by Vasilios, because Vasilios had some weird lap times, just slower.
So Yannick is, where is he on track? He's coming into the bus stop now, and Reese is stationary in the pits.
Well, I just found out with the spectator, I'm just now watching the same as you, so I can commentate as well now.
Okay.
On what you're seeing and not on my individual views.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Yannick is coming around to start his lap number 73, that is. Reese has got the car going again. He is heading on to lap...
I think he's already on lap 74.
Yeah, he's on lap 74.
Oh no, it's just 75. And Yannick is probably now 2 laps down, or just 1 and then a little of a big part of lap 2.
Yeah, he is not that far behind actually, so... And Rees, where is he? He is heading out of the pits. He needs to be careful.
He probably doesn't want to gain another departure penalty.
Exactly, and he especially doesn't want to collide with the man who's coming around for the pits now. That is Vasilios. So it's a little bit of a chaotic thing that we have going on in the prototype class.
Yeah.
But
just 10 minutes ago, Rees was still fighting for P2, and now at the moment, Rees is closer to Yannick than to Sandro, and Sandro is even closer to Vasilios than to Rees.
Exactly.
That's really weird to see, but still, it's really unfortunate for him.
And a man who's had a very quiet race ever since most of the GTE field was eliminated is Rob and Lance. They've not really had anything to do, running very similar lap times. Rob is a little bit faster on the previous lap, but
yeah,
it's nothing much.
Not enough to probably gain an his place.
Yeah, he's only about 1 second faster.
Yeah, and with 8 minutes to go, he won't gain probably 50 seconds back. Yeah, because he has to spin and lose some parts of his car, but probably he won't do it.
And still then, Rob still has a 1 second time penalty. It's not much, but it's still something.
Yeah.
And just checking up on things. Yannick, was that Rees he just overtook? No, that was not.
I think Sandro is right behind Rees at the moment.
I think so that must have been Vasilios that is going to get involved. So there's going to be a on track 3 prototype cars very close to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yannick is not far behind either, in front.
No, he's not that far. But the thing is, if Sandro and Rees get into contact with each other, it could be trouble.
Yeah.
So.
But they probably won't do that, as they are at the moment with their race teammates.
Yeah, that's true.
And Rees has nothing to do in the class, obviously. As his next race, he will be my teammate.
Yeah, in Risi Competizione in the Ferrari, and that is a spin for.
Oh, and he has collided Sandro as well.
That was the thing that should not happen, and that was. So that was Sandro who spun, I think, and took Rees with him.
I think it's the other way around. Rees spun as he was ahead, and then he collided with Sandro.
Could
now,
be.
Now Vasilios is right behind him, trying to lap him again.
Yeah. And we have 5 minutes left of a really exciting race. Unfortunately, it got exciting a little bit too far into the race. It was quite boring in the beginning, but.
Yeah.
And I think you could excuse that with this track also being exceptionally wide and high speed. Yeah. The next track we're heading on to, Sonoma Raceway, a lot more twisty and a lot more turns. And here comes Rees.
Oh man, Rees, boy, with his space.
That's some overspeed right there. And these cars do not have hybrid power, so I don't know where he got that speed from.
Yeah, I don't know as well. It was nice to see him go so fast. Unfortunately, he outbraked himself into the first corner, and now he's right behind him as he is getting blue flags at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. But talking about next race in the IMSA Championship, it is Sonoma Raceway. It's a little bit more twisty and turn, a lot more compact than.
When will the actually be in next race?
What?
When will be in mid-February beginning?
The date has not been confirmed yet, but we suspect it's going to be somewhere in February. So and
and Rees has won again. It was the Sandro.
Oh, so he's still not. He's making life hard for himself right now.
Yeah.
But saying that he still has.
He's himself, and maybe even Yannick can pass him still in the last 3 minutes.
Still some time to go, and I think technically I don't think Yannick is going to be able to do that actually, as there's only 3.5 minutes left, as Rees has a gap of nearly 3.5 minutes. So
yeah, exactly.
And Lance needs to be careful he doesn't get in the way there of Reese.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's Nick!
Is Nick driving it? Oh man, Nick is driving again.
I thought that was Lance. No, that's Nick. He's got his car working again.
Oh man, he may even get past me then. I had like 35 left.
But the thing is right now, unfortunately, that everyone has done plus 70 laps. Nick is coming around to complete lap number 30.
Yeah.
So he's not going to challenge anyone. He's going to be more of a roadblock than anything, you would think. But he's got his car working yet again.
Oh, and he's drifting. He's really drifting.
I don't know if he's running on slicks or what's happening.
I think he's running on slicks as well, as he couldn't change his tires.
Yeah, he must be. Yeah, that Corvette is very tail happy.
Yeah.
But
he's just enjoying himself the last minutes of the race.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
After waiting for more than 1.5 hours.
And no trouble for, I think that was Vasilios who lapped Lance?
Yeah.
Maybe that was Yannick, I don't know. They're not that far apart.
It was Vasilios. Or has Vasilios also left Yannick again?
No, it was Yannick. It was Yannick. But a very, 1.5 minutes barely left, and then we are on to the last lap of the race.
Yeah.
But
I think this will already be the last lap when he joins. Then he will get a white flag probably, as the lap is longer than the time remaining.
It could be. Depends on how Project Cars do their last lap. If you have to complete the lap you are on plus an extra lap, but
yeah, I think this will be the last lap, but we will see.
Logically, it would be the last lap. As Sandro comes
Sandro's
into
pitting. There's the pit stop I said he could make at the end.
And could that be trouble for him? Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Reese
I think Reese is too far behind. Oh
Sandro
man!
Just
on my screen he didn't have his right front.
Reese or
no, Sandro in the pit stop. It was probably a glitch.
Could be, unless there's a feature where tires do not get fitted properly.
Yeah, well now it's on the car, so probably wasn't the case on my screen. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah, it could be. But 20 seconds and then the first IMSA Championship race is complete. And without a doubt, it's going to be Vasilios taking victory in the prototype class. Lance LeBron going to be taking a victory in the GTE class, and no GT3 cars on track today. But race is over. I think once he comes around,
this will be the last lap. I think Vasilios will now be running to the finish line, and he will win the first IMSA Championship race in Daytona, the 2.4 hours of Daytona.
So he stood. There we have it. And that was Nick coming high.
And he
gets punted by Rob Small, and Rob has. I don't know if he's finished his race. Oh man! There's a massive crash between Reese and Yannick.
Yeah, I think he was just enjoying himself when finishing finally the race for himself.
Yeah, I don't know if.
Nice
and there goes Reese with the donuts. Yeah. Beautiful donuts.
Reese with the second podium in SRL. With the third place.
Yeah, we cannot forget that. And Nick running that Corvette without its rear spoiler looks kind of weird, but regardless, here comes Sandro.
Sandro with a nice second place.
It's a really good finish for him, I think.
Yeah.
And we are going to have interviews with the class winners and possibly also class podium afterwards.
Probably everybody then.
Pretty much, yeah. And also, we can just take victory drivers, maybe. So who is on the last lap right now? I think that might be Rob.
I think it's Fox.
Oh yeah, it might be Lance. That's true.
Or it's just
Maybe
no, it will be Nick. It's definitely Nick.
Okay,
as he couldn't finish, as he was on the graph. I think he just can't finish his race.
How much fuel does he have? He has 70. Does he get a big punt there by Yannick? That was. But I think it might be Rob who we are waiting for. Could be. I don't know. We will see once Rob comes around. But Vasilios deserved victory. Deserved victory. Sandro deserved second, and Reese
also
a bit hairy at the times, but you must say it was deserved at the end that he got the podium.
Yeah.
And Lance LeBron, his first full-time race as an SRL driver, and he wins his class. That's not bad.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Lance LeBron with this nice first win of the IMSA season in the GTE class.
So
he's really a worthy opponent for me, I would say, for the next races.
So the final results of the SRL Racing League URL IMSA Championship 2.4 hours of Daytona. That's a long title if I've ever seen one, but it is Vasilios Belestiotis, the Greek driver, driving for the Danish high-class racing, taking victory. Then it is Sandra Dooley's in second, driving for Konica Minolta. Reese March substituting for Cameron Weston Edwards in the Konica, taking third. Then it is Yannick in P4, and the last place in the prototype class, taking fourth place, substituting for Tim Venting. Then it is Lance LeBron who takes victory in the GTE class with the Corvette. And then on his debut, Rob Small, the Jamaican driver in the Ford, takes second, and then Nick van Gelder, the Dutchman, who is the reigning world champion in SRL Formula 1, takes third place and completes a beautiful podium for Corvette, you must say. And then your non-finishers is Dion Stahl and another recent Oh yeah, that's his name.
But just a quick question, as I think I have completed more laps than Nick. Will I then still be classified as third, or will I be fourth?
We will see about that. It will come as an official statement.
It will just be investigated.
Exactly, and we're gonna try and get some interviews into here, obviously with victory drivers. So we're gonna see if we can get Vasilios and Lance.
I have to say that it was a nice experience today for being a commentator.
It's quite different.
Yeah, it's really quite different.
So invites have been sent out, and thanks for the kind words, Dion. Invites have been sent to Lance and Vasilios, obviously.
But they are joining.
So let's see. And there we have the winning
Congratulations,
drivers.
Fox and Vasilios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope both of you have your audio on share.
You know mine is, so...
Yeah, now it should be activated.
Okay, so we're going to start with Vasilios. You took victory in the prototype class. It's the first race of the IMSA season. Was it a difficult one also with the weather change and the length of the race?
It was a fun one. I really enjoyed it. It was such a good race. It was a really funny race. Of course, the weather change has got us it was a big impact for us, but personally I could manage it pretty well because I was just fueling up my tank and not changing my tires because Jeff, my engineer already said that it's going to it's going to be raining in some minutes. Yeah.
And you managed to stay out of most of the crashes that happened today, it seems. I don't know if you got tangled up in somewhere. It's been 2.5 hours, and I can't really remember what happened at the start of the race. at the end of the race, it seemed like you were cruising when it started to raining.
I just had one little accident with Fox at the bus stop. Chicane, his car spun his car, and his car went back on the track, and I hit it. Then I had to pit, but that was pretty it. But at the end, when it was raining really heavily, I had some how's it called again? Problems or problems with the aquaplaning.
Oh, aquaplaning.
With the aquaplaning,
okay. And you mentioned that you ran into Lance, and that segues us into the second victory. Can you believe that we have 2 victory drivers today in today's race? But Lance LeBron, it's not your first time racing in SRL, but it is your first time in as a full-time racing driver in SRL. It's victory for Corvettes, and it's a double podium as it looks right now. Did you enjoy it?
I'm really happy. I don't race hardly ever, and Project Cars 2 is an extremely hard game to get a hold of when you have a controller as opposed to the wheel. It's not controller friendly, so it was. I struggled with setup all week, and I nailed it late in the week, and it was stellar in the dry. But the things I didn't take into account was pitch strategy and learning how to actually change tires in the game.
Yeah.
So my first actual end of my first stint, I was still on my same slicks that I had started with, and I made one pit stop at one point, and the team wasn't even ready out on the pit road, so that was a drive-through for no reason. And finally, I was able to figure it out once the rain came. I got some help from Rob, who I think is going to be a real competition this year. And I think he could do a lot better in that Ford GT, but he was given the car, just this morning. So I've been practicing with the vet all week. So
and
it's nice to win a race in general because I don't often do it, and it's only really my second SRL race. So
but
it's a good time.
And talking about Rob just getting the Ford handed to him today, there was a lot of driver changes in this series, actually. We talked about it during the stream, or at least I did, that I was supposed to race in the vet, but then obviously commentary, and then it left a seat open. You took it originally, but then, what was it, a couple of days ago, you originally wanted to swap to, what was it, Ford or something?
I did want the Ford. If I was going to stay in the GTE category, I wanted the Ford because I was having such a hard time with the vet trying to find a setup. And when that wasn't available, I elected to switch to the GT3 category, which would have been disappointing since there wasn't any GT3 cars on the track today. But I found a fairly good setup for the Lamborghini. But I kept messing with the Corvette and going back to it, just thinking if I could just figure it out. And I nailed on something with the differential and the engine braking that really just put the car to fit my driving style and the controller. I think it really worked out in the dry. It was stellar in the dry. And then in the wet, it was just, the track is so hard in the wet with as hard as it was raining. Vasilius did an amazing job in the wet compared to everybody else. His car was just on point, and luckily, the few spins that I did have today, aside from the contact with Vasilius at the bus stop, I really didn't hit anything. And I was trying to get the car out of the way when we made contact, but other than that, it was fairly clean, and that's really just what I was going for. My goal was to just finish the race, be competitive, and stay out of the way of the LMP2 cars.
And that's the thing.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and also with just finishing the saga of driver swaps, when you originally wanted to go to the Ford, you were given the Ford, actually, because at that point Reese and Dion were sitting in the Ford, but then, as you said, you nailed the setup for the Corvettes, and you went back to that team, sending Reese the other way once again, and in the meantime, Rob, I think, was debating with Reese over whether he could get a fourth seed, and Reese eventually gambled his whole team away, like both Dion and him, to Risi Competizione instead of Ford. So that meant
without even communicating with his teammates.
Exactly. So,
I mean, there was a little bit of confusion in the middle of the week because at one point Reese did say that he would take the vet and I would be in the GT. And then I think later that afternoon, after Reese figured out how difficult it was to get a hold on the Corvette, he was like, "I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
And that's when I switched to the Lamborghini. I was like, but I did keep going back to it. I just felt like there was definitely speed in the car. I could run a fast lap, but I couldn't run 15 clean laps. It was impossible. It was it was either a fast lap and then a spin out, fast lap and a spin out. There was never a good race pace. And when I finally hit that setup, I was like, I think I come on something here. And looking at other people's times, Reese was running like 147s in the GT. Rob was running like 145s, and I was like, shit, I'm running 144, 143. I might actually have a chance at this. So I stuck with it. And but yeah, there was a little bit of confusion there in the middle of the week, and I know Rob was struggling with the Ferrari. But I tell you what, man, that GT, he's got a good setup as far as straight line speed on that thing. It is really quick on the straights.
And you could say that it would probably not matter for next IMSA race, which obviously is Sonoma Raceway. That doesn't really have a lot of long straights.
No, Sonoma I don't think will be much of an issue, but when we get to some of the other tracks like Road America, like the Ford GT is going to be quick. And obviously the LMP2 cars are going to be super fast. But I think Sonoma is, as far as like the LMP2 cars go, they're going to be like very high downforce setup. And I'm going to have to play around with the settings on the Corvette just a little bit to try and find a little bit more mechanical grip. Obviously, Daytona isn't too technical as far as the infield layout. I mean, you've only got a handful of turns, and there's no elevation change. Sonoma is
it's quite different.
A mess. So I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit just to try and find more mechanical grip. But
also
the GT though is come Road America. That thing's going to probably light us up a little bit, especially with Rob. Rob's a master at making setups. He does share a lot of his setup information, but he keeps the best information to himself. So he's definitely going to be one to watch.
And also, I think, well, that's my look at it at least. Daytona, it has this very wide banking of the oval itself. And when you get to the infield, it gets very tricky to pass. The infield itself of Daytona is very similar to Sonoma as a general track. Do you think passing is going to be more difficult? Both you and Vasilios, do you think passing on Sonoma, both for position but also lapping someone, is going to be more tricky on Sonoma?
I think so, because in Daytona we have many opportunities to overtake someone. For example, on the big straight or at the beginning of the oval, you know. In Sonoma, we don't have that. We just have tight corners, and the track isn't really that big, isn't going right. So I think it will be, of course, tricky in Sonoma, but it shouldn't be such a problem.
And your view on it, Lance?
Yeah, Sonoma is more of a rhythm track. It's one groove for the most part. Your best passing opportunities as far as an LMP2 car trying to get around a lap car or a GTE car or even trying to make up a position, your best two chances is going to be one, coming out of the carousel onto that short back straight. You can get a good run out of there, and then after you come out of the S's, NASCAR like turn 10 and onto that short back straight before you hit the hairpin. Those are your two best opportunities to make a clean pass. I feel like the GTE cars are going to have to be really careful trying to let the LMP2 cars go by on the if you're not in those two areas, especially if you're in the S's. You don't want to get offline, and there's not a lot of room for mistake at Sonoma as it is. The track is actually fairly narrow for most of the section. So it's going to be real tricky to try and just stay out of the LMP2 ways.
Yeah.
And the track is actually relatively short compared to Daytona. Daytona is like 3.5 miles. Sonoma is only like, what, 2.1, 1.9, something like that. It's not very long. So lap traffic, the LMP2 cars are going to run into it a lot more than they did at Daytona.
Yeah. Just checking the road course for Daytona is 5.7 kilometers. If we check Sonoma Raceway, the one we are going to be using, which is the GP circuit, it's 4.0 kilometers. So there is a difference, a significant difference.
Yeah, so that's like 2.2 miles versus like 3.5 miles.
Exactly. And also, I suppose this race, we had 5 GTE cars. Most of them were taken out of running by some coincidence, like especially
a lot of technical glitches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I'm not sure what happened with Dion, but I know Nick was having the same trouble I was having, trying to figure out how to switch the tires, and he pretty much threw in the towel.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is bugged. We know that.
Yeah, we know Dion, he got stuck in the pit lane and could not leave, so that was no fault of his own. The other Ferrari, what was his name again? I completely forgot.
That was Ryan Wingate, and I'm hoping he'll be able to join us for more of the races. But his job demands him be on call 24 hours a day.
Okay.
So
yeah, and he said that he had to leave for work. So, and obviously, as you said, he had to be on demand. And Nick, he got going at the last 10 minutes of the race after being stationed.
He did, but he was still on slick tires. He still hadn't figured out how to.
Exactly, and it's
switched.
all of the other.
I'm hoping with.
Most of the other drivers had done like plus 70 laps. He was completing lap 30 by that time. So, but still, as it seems right now, we are still investigating it regardless. But since he got his car working again, he might get a podium still. But
well, I'm hoping with this being the first race of the SRL IMSA series. I mean, it was also a learning curve for a lot of people. Really, the only races we've ever done as SRL on this game has been the Indy 500, and even that has been hit or miss sometimes with the glitches. And obviously, the game's bugged a little bit, but I feel like. With everybody collectively being in the race and everybody experiencing some of the same problems, but also different problems, that we can all get a handle on how to move forward throughout the race. Vasilius seemed to have very little issues at all. I didn't have any technical glitches. I just didn't know how to change the tires.
That's also.
So aside from that, my car and my internet, I didn't have any issues, and it didn't look like Vasilius had any problems either. So I feel like the more we do the racing, the further we get into the season, the smoother the races will become, and the more competitive it'll be.
Yeah, and also as you're saying, it is the first time apart from IndyCar, and actually also this is only the third race that SRL uses Project Cars for. Even though Indy 500 has been running for 4 seasons in a row now, the first 2 seasons we used Gran Turismo 6. So really, it's only the third race that we've ever done in this league on Project Cars. So it could.
Because the only other one was the Winter Derby that we did in
exactly.
December, which was a lot of fun.
And that also, we had some technical difficulties as well. Obviously, the viewers won't know because the stream itself was made private, and a little bit of editing was put into that.
Oh yeah, to the Winter Derby one. Yeah, that was
since it was
great job editing it, by the way. But yeah, there was a lot of technical difficulties with that as well. And again, I think the further we move on, the more races we do. I mean, it's amazing to me that the game has been out as long as it has, and the makers have just pretty much been like, well, it's as good as it's going to get. You know, it's a lot of games do that. I mean, I know Codemasters does it with the F1 games, and they only do so many updates until they're just like, well, it's not going to get any better than this. We'll save the rest of the crap for next year. But there doesn't appear to be another Project Cars on the horizon. And Gran Turismo Sport, I feel like is lacking a lot of elements that I think SRL wants to incorporate. There really isn't any other good racing games to do an IMSA type series on the PS4 platform. So it's we're kind of like stuck with what we got. but I think I think you and me and guys like Sandro and Vasilius, I think we have enough knowledge of the game that we can make it work going forward. Um,
And it's also
so
about being a little bit like flexible, I suppose, with the trouble coming up as we experienced today. It is quite a long race, so I personally, going into this race as a commentator, was expecting that there was going to be some technical difficulties at some point, probably, because it was a 2.4-hour race, and you know the game is glitched. You do expect then there is maybe going to be some trouble on the way, but taking into consideration how long the race was, I think there was relatively few technical difficulties, actually.
Yeah, I feel like once the race actually got going, there really wasn't any issues with the exception of the guys getting stuck in the pit lane.
Yeah. And
you
could say that was
really seemed to get disconnected for any particular reason. Everybody's internet seemed to hold up. The lobby itself didn't really glitch. It was just those couple of pit lane issues. And again, that's we don't know if that's the game, if it was something in their settings that they didn't have set right.
But like as you say, the technical difficulties on behalf of the game. It was only one incident, and that was Dion. Neek, unfortunately, not, as you say, knowing how to change his tires and fuel, so he wasn't served properly, and he decided to stop his car in the pits, and the other Ferrari just called into work. It's something that happens, so that was not the fault of the game. So only really one incident, as it seems.
And I do want to give a shout out to Ryan because I asked him midweek if he would want to play because I knew we were looking for a couple of GT3 drivers, and unfortunately Jan and Ivan didn't show up for the GT3 class, and we just kind of threw him into a car. But he actually showed some pretty good pace. He was running second in the class there for a little while, and it's a shame that he had to get called away to work. But hopefully moving forward with the other races, that'll be a little bit shorter. Obviously, and he's on mountain time in the U.S., so he's like another 2 hours behind what I am. So it's like 7:30 in the morning for him. But he showed some good pace, and he's a clean driver. I've dealt with him in another league, so he's a good dude, and I hope it works out.
And for sure, we're gonna see if we can incorporate him into the league. And also, as you say, you want to give a shout out to him, but I especially also want to give a shout out to Underground Racing League, as we borrow some drivers every now and then. It's no hidden factor that we borrow drivers from other leagues. We have borrowed from IRL, International Racing League, before, and we borrowed from VRL most recently, and now we borrow from URL as well. And in return of URL sharing a lot of experience with GT racing in particular, obviously this series has been rebranded as SRL URL, IMSA Endurance Racing Championship. So.
And I appreciate that. My league is not much, but I mean, basically it's just a funky branch of International Racing League's GT series, and I mean for good cause. There's no ill feelings there. I mean, I understand why IRL made the decision. The car count was relatively low. We were having a hard time getting drivers on a consistent basis. But I mean, the other factor too was Gran Turismo Sport. It can make for some really good racing, and it can make for some really bad racing. We ran a Group 4 league over the summer that was highly entertaining, very competitive, and a lot of fun for all the drivers. And then we tried a Group 3 league, which was basically the GT3 cars, and wasn't as much fun. There was a lot of separation in the competition, and a lot of guys, especially like Rob, was really hoping to do a Project Cars 2 series, and this kind of just came together. And next week we're going to do the URL 2.4 h Daytona, where it's going to be a full class of LMP2 cars. And I mean, as it stands right now, there's like 9 or 10 drivers representing like 4 different leagues. So I mean, it'll definitely be entertaining, and I think that'll be a lot of fun too, since that'll be everybody will be on the same machinery.
Yeah.
Try and see what it's like to have a full field of LMP2 cars going around Daytona.
Exactly.
I got a feeling that if Facilios joins that race, he'll probably walk away with that one too. So.
But yeah, and I don't want to tease anything for whoever's still watching this after we started like 3 hours ago or something. But there could be some more things coming to SRL. You never know. In terms of racing series, possibly, and collaborations with other leagues. It is a possibility.
Well, I know my plans for Project Cars 2 moving forward, which I don't think we've discussed too much about, but the IMSA series takes priority, but there's still a couple of key races that I want to do as URL. That would definitely be a little bit different than just the IMSA series. After the 2.4 hours of Daytona next week, the next thing I have on my horizon is to do the Liqui Moly Bathurst 1.2 hours with the GT3 cars, which actually will be running the first weekend of February in real life. So I want to run that race in February as well, just to kind of keep things moving a little bit. It's right now URL is concentrating on crown jewel type races that a lot of other series don't do, or if it is something that they do, we try to put a little bit of different take on it.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, as you say, like, obviously SRL focusing on Formula One at the beginning. We are starting to branch out to other series, obviously, and in the future, I can say there is going to be other series as well, apart from sports cars and Formula One, but also with IndyCar coming in, like the Indy 500, 2.4 hours of Le Mans being a part of this series, and of course the Monaco Grand Prix a part of the Formula One series. SRL is taking the more traditional look at the crown, the triple crown, and just trying to create racing series apart, and where I suspect that the URL is trying to create more of a series that focuses on specific races that have
something that's going to separate us from every other league out there. I mean, there's so many of them. And really the two that I'm most familiar with is obviously SRL and IRL. And I think IRL in the past couple seasons has done a lot as far as their Formula One competition goes. They now have 3, F1 leagues. They have an F2, F3, and F1, depending on the skill of the drivers, which is kind of cool. That's part of the reason why the GT league kind of got pushed aside, was to make room for the Formula One. So that took precedent.
And I suppose you can justify it to some degree, obviously.
Right, exactly, and that's why I wasn't too terribly upset. I mean, it did kind of come out of left field when it happened, but I did get it at the end. But I like, and that's their taking on there. I don't know of many leagues. I don't deal with a whole lot of them on a normal basis, but the ones that I do know of, they don't do multi-tier Formula One racing. And SRL has always done, their yearly, the annual Indy 500, and then this year we started a new, thing with the Snowball Derby. And, it's nice to see the leagues that I deal with take a little bit different take on just your traditional GT3 cars or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The only other league that I know that tries to do a big separation would be like P1 Racing in Europe. Which, they do almost a different race every single day of the week, it seems like.
But then again, you would think that at that point, it's not to take, like, to...
The thing there is that every single one of those races is always on Gran Turismo.
Yeah, but also the thing with big league
trophy, the next day it's Group 4, next day it's Group 3, the next day it's Super Formula, and that's cool, but it's always Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of
multi-game, maybe.
Right, multi-gaming league. and whatever is on the horizon, if there's ever a NASCAR league or IndyCar or whatever the case may be, I'd totally be down for an IndyCar league. But whatever the case may be, I feel like SRL is one of the few leagues taking the steps to try and separate themselves from everybody else.
Yeah.
So
it's good to hear though that we are doing things differently, noticeably. But there's not really that much more from me, to be honest. Your winning drivers, Vasilios and Lance.
Yes.
It's strange to say that we have two winning drivers in the same race, but that's the way it goes in multi-class racing. You just have to get
love it.
But
I love it, and
yes, same here.
But we're going to be back with Formula One quite soon, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what date we agreed on, but it's going to be. I think it's in next month.
So the 18th is going to be the URL 2.4 hours of Daytona, which is next week.
And
that'll be the LMP2 cars.
Exactly.
And then I think the week after that, we go back to Formula One.
Depends if our commentator is free from work. Obviously. But we're trying, obviously, with a new series. It's a little bit strange. You need to cram things into a schedule, and sometimes you just have to say we slap them in there, like we did last week with the United States Grand Prix. Obviously, it's on the expense of someone else's race who has to do commentary sometimes, but I feel like it's.
And I do want to give you a shout out for that covering. I know it's a pain, and I know you
it's not
want to be in the race and be competitive, but.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a trade-off, I guess, because you are the league operator and owner, so you got to do what's best for the league.
And I suppose, but sometimes you just have to make sacrifices. It is annoying at the time, but you get used to it, I suppose. And I'm not too bothered about it because I was looking to race in this series as well, but I can see now that it is actually much more fun commentating this racing series than I think it would have been originally. So I'm happily taking that for sure.
And I appreciate that because like I said, I don't race much, and it's something that I want to do and want to get better at. I'll never do it in Formula One. I'm terrible at Formula One. But the GT cars, I got a pretty good grasp on, and like I said, I nailed that setup, and I'm hoping I can do it again at Sonoma. And it's a lot of fun for me to, having been behind the scenes and commentating for the last 3 seasons. It's nice to be out on track with some of the drivers that I get to call. So I appreciate the opportunity to let me race.
Yeah, it's fun. But that's actually going to be all for us from us. That's going to be all for us today. Actually, we're going to end the stream here now. It's been quite a while since we started it, but I hope everyone who's been watching has enjoyed. I hope the drivers have been enjoying it, and it certainly seems like it. We're going to be back soon, as Lance said. Don't forget next week IMSA, well, not IMSA, but the 24 hours of Daytona, 2.4 hours of Daytona in URL. You can sign up. Just message him on PSN, and I suppose you have some open spots that are still available.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now there's 10 drivers representing 4 leagues, so it's a true interleague type race. Chances are not all of those 10 drivers are going to show up as it is. Everybody always plans to make the race, and something always happens. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely spots available if anybody wants to do an LMP2 race at Daytona. We're going to race it just like we did today, except it'll be a full-class LMP2 cars, balls to the wall racing. And
we're also going to return with Formula One in not so many weeks, if not the week following the LMP2 race in URL. And that's going to be the Australian Grand Prix. And the next race in IMSA is going to be Sonoma Raceway. It's 2.4 It's 1.2 hours, so it's half the length, but it's going to be just as fun, if not more exciting. So I've been your commentator, and that's it.